Please refrain from using tobacco products while with us today.
Testing, testing, 1, 2.
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
If you want to do your intro.
Let me do a quick intro, guys. I'll let you guys go. And welcome, everybody, to Campus Nation. I'm Bill the Razor Rayback. Of course, I'm here with my partner, Greg Henning, and I have Joey and Claire, who are in the Ohio U Broadcasting Club, correct? And they're going to do the majority of this today. So, guys, I'm going to turn this over to you. We've got Lackawanna, who comes from Scranton, PA. They are 7-0, ranked 6th in the country, against Hocking College, who is 1-5. They have one common opponent so far this year, and that is Erie Community College. Lackawanna beat them 29-10, and Hocking dropped a decision to them 44-15. So, based on common opponents, it's going to be a tough one for Hocking today. But anyhow, without further ado, guys, I'm going to turn it over to you, and you guys are going to hit some of the scores here with some of the conferences that we cover on Campus Nation. Of course, you can follow us on www.campusnation.com or watch us on YouTube at Campus Nation. So I'll turn it over to Joey and Claire. And, guys, here you go.
Thank you for that really nice introduction. If we're looking at local scores throughout the state and throughout the area, we have the conference with Baldwin-Wallace, and that is the OAC, the Ohio Athletic Conference. This week, Baldwin-Wallace took after Wilmington with a really close game of 35-33, along with the conference Marietta versus John Carroll, where John Carroll was just again a field goal ahead of them and with a 27-24 final. And finally, Ohio Northern took ahead of Capital University with 49-46 win.
Moving over to the Heartland Collegiate Athletic Conference, Mount St. Joseph picked up a win over Defiance 20-0 to advance to 6-2 on the season, while Defiance dropped to 0-7. Franklin picked up a big victory over Earlham 64-20 to move to 6-1. Hanover knocked off Manchester 48-14, and to round out the conference, Rose Holman beat Anderson 44-6.
If we're looking at the SIAC this weekend, there's a lot of close games, but a couple blowouts in the making of it. With Central State versus Robert Morris University, it was a 45-49 close game with Robert Morris taking head. Kentucky State had a zip to 37 loss against Tuskegee. Miles versus Lane was a 15-14 real close game, and rounding out this conference was Clark versus Atlanta with Albany State taking head with 36-33 win.
Yeah, moving over to the Great Midwest Conference, here Findlay beat Alderson Broadus 45-43 on Saturday. Moving on to the Kentucky Wesleyan, they won pretty handily over Lake Erie 46-6. Malone in a close game over Millersville University pulled away 38-34. Tiffin beat Ohio Dominican 24-23, and Hillsdale beat Walsh 28-9.
Now, if we're looking at it from a local standpoint, we just hit all the conferences. But what's the NCAA have to offer? If we're looking at the Big Ten, Wisconsin demolished Illinois 49-20. Rutgers versus Northwestern had a close game with a field goal gap of 15-18 with Northwestern taking ahead. The 19th ranked Iowa versus Maryland shut them out 23-0. Michigan versus Michigan State, the battle of the North, with the Wolverines taking a 21-7 lead against the Spartans. Indiana versus Penn State had a 28-33 game with Penn State taking that one. And finally, rounding out the Big Ten, Nebraska beat Minnesota 53-28.
And just moving on to some other notable games around the country. Number 3, Clemson took on number 16, NC State, and they won pretty handily, advancing to 7-0 on the season, 41-7 over the Wolfpack. Moving over to the SEC, LSU knocked off Mississippi State 19-3 in a defensive slugfest. And then Washington State got a big win over Oregon at home, 34-20 over the Ducks to move to 6-1 and 3-1 in the Pac-12 on the season.
All right, Joey, so let's take a look at this game today. What's the storylines between each team?
Well, Lackawanna is a powerhouse so far in the NJCCA this season. They are 7-0, and they come in ranked 6th in the country. They just clinched their conference last week with a 21-7 win, and they are heavily favored coming into this game for sure.
Not only that, they have a head coaching staff that's really well-rounded. With their head coach, that has 370 players that have gone to Division I scholarships. His name is Mark Duda, and he's been an NFL athlete himself. He played for the St. Louis Cardinals and was the fourth round pick, 96th overall for the Cardinals, and he played 54 games and started 34 of those and had a record of 13 sacks around that.
Yeah, Duda has produced over 370 Division I athletes out of Lackawanna, including 15 NFL players, some notable ones: Bryant McKinney, who was a Super Bowl champion; Kevin White, who was a number 7 overall draft pick for the Chicago Bears not too long ago, along with Lorenzo Taliaferro, who was a running back for the Baltimore Ravens in the NFL. But now let's move over to Hocking. They are 1-5 so far in the season. They play an independent schedule. Their head coach is Al Matthews. He's been with the program ever since they started 4 years ago from Sandusky, Ohio. And why don't you break down his career so far, Claire?
Let's look at it this way. Since he started off the program, he's been working it slowly but surely with a couple winning seasons here and there, but he's trying to rebuild it after last year losing their sophomores. In 2016, he had a 2-8 record. 2017, he had 4-6, and then currently they stand at 1-5. He's accredited with instilling the athletic department and bringing in the idea and the concept of having an athletic section of it so they could recruit more players or more students from out of state.
Yeah, as you can see here, Hocking players are taking the field. They are at midfield. They're coming in on a 2-game losing streak. They lost last week 19-6. So they're going to look to bounce back in this one, but it's going to be a tough test for them for sure against the Falcons.
Not only is it going to be a tough test, but mentally we should see how they hold up as an attitude perspective, because if you keep up your attitude as a losing team, there's nothing that you can really do but to play your best. If you let the other team get inside of your head from a defensive or an offensive standpoint, it's just going to make your game so much more miserable from the losing perspective of it. If we're looking at the winning perspective side of things, Lackawanna needs to keep their head on their shoulders and not let their egos get too far ahead of themselves, considering that there's still a game of football to be played.
Right, Lackawanna, obviously they're going to be battling to try to get in a bowl game this season, so they can't slip up in a game like this against Hocking. They got to come in here on the road and handle their business for sure. As you just saw, a little altercation there. Both teams fired up before this game. Hocking players took midfield, and they were jawing with some of the Lackawanna players, so both teams fired up coming into this one.
And that's really exciting to see, considering that Hocking College has such a disappointing record from what they're used to typically, with kind of a 500 even. So going in 1-5 against a team that's undefeated, having a confidence against them is really crucial for walking into the game and making a fight.
Yeah, sometimes it's tough to get up for a game like this when you're facing a nationally ranked opponent, and you've been struggling this season. But Hocking, they're looking like they're ready to play today for sure. As we're about to get ready for the coin toss here at Boston Field at Nelsonville York High School, the captains for Hocking today look like quarterback number 11, Michael Stanley, number 12, Tyreek Jones, number 10, Dominic Carroll, and number 43, who is on crutches. Looks like he's not playing today, but that is Dominique Powers, they will represent the Hocking for the coin toss today.
If we're just looking at weather conditions here today, it's a perfect day to play some football. We got some clouded skies, no rain in sight. It's pretty nice considering that it's been kind of on and off showers, a little cold, a little miserable here and there within the Ohio weather. But it's a perfect fall day to play some football, and it should be exciting to see what happens and how Hocking College responds to this undefeated team.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see for sure. Yeah, as you mentioned, the weather, there's a slight breeze out there today, but nothing that should affect the teams too much. It's kind of a nice little brisk fall day out there today. Both teams are meeting at midfield for the coin toss. Referees explaining the rules to both sides. And they shake hands, and we will look to see who gets the ball first in this one. So, Claire, in a game like this, how important do you think it is for Hocking to get started early and often?
I think it's really important for them to really, put their points on the board first compared to Lackawanna, because it shows that they can put up a fight and they have the ability to score and provide an offense that's effective. And not only that, but it gives a confidence boost for their defense to maintain that lead. If we're looking at Lackawanna, they really need to prioritize preventing them from scoring first.
So it's looking like Hocking will receive the ball to start this ball game, so the offense will take the field first, and they'll get a chance to try to strike early in this one.
The Hocking College on this side, because where our press box is sitting, we're relatively close to their sidelines. They're very vocal today. For their size, they're just as vocal as Lackawanna is.
Yeah, you can really tell Coach Matthews back deep to receive for Hocking, as well as. And the kick is off, and we are underway in this one. It dribbles over towards the 10, scooped up, and he has a little trouble picking it up, and he's bringing it down the far sideline. He knocked out of bounds at about the 17-yard line. That's where Hocking will take over in this one.
That was not bad field position after that kick return. I mean, granted, it is around the 20-yard line, and they still have 80 yards to charge down the field. But if this offense can prove that they have the ability to move the ball, it's going to be kind of a surprise to Lackawanna's defense.
Yep, so we see Michael Stanley, starting quarterback for the Hawks, leading his offense out onto the field for this one, as they will look to try to manage the clock in this one and try not to let Lackawanna control the possession of the game and, pick up first downs when they need to and move the ball down the field. So Hocking lining up with 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Running back in the backfield behind Stanley as he looks to take the cadence. Hand up off the middle. He breaks to the right side, and he is met by a sea of Lackawanna defenders. Picks up a gain of 2 on that one, and it will be 2nd down and 8.
Lackawanna ended up reading that a little late, considering that he gained some yards on it, and it was a rush up the middle. But that just shows that Hocking College is just trying out their plays to see and feel out this defensive line.
Yeah, that was number 23, Tyrese Sherman on the carry. And now they line up here, 2nd down and 8. 2 receivers to the left. Stanley in the shotgun yet again in that pistol formation. He looks to give it to Sherman again. He busts up the middle, and he picks up a solid gain of 3 yards and make it 3rd and manageable here for the Hawks.
It should be interesting to see if they have a different play than the first 2 that they've ran so far, and that was a rush up the middle with their running back, to see if they can make this 3rd down conversion.
It'd definitely be a big conversion to pick up early. Stanley looking towards the sideline, trying to get the signal. And he is walking up to the line, telling him to play. Once again, trips to the left. Looks like Stanley will once again line up in that pistol formation. Some confusion with the play call right now for the Hawks. So Stanley, now he's lining up. Ready to hike the ball. 3rd and 3. And Stanley going to pump. He looks down the field over the middle, and it will fall incomplete. He was looking for number 9, Quantavious Legear, the sophomore, but it falls incomplete, and it will bring up 4th down.
That pass was it put a lot of pressure in that quarterback position, because he ended up having to throw the ball throw the ball low. And it was just out of his reach, and not only that, he had 2 defenders on him, preventing that 3rd down conversion and attaining a 1st.
Yeah, it looked like the Hawks had some confusion lining up on that one. Michael Stanley came over to the sideline with shrugging his shoulders. But Lackawanna will force the 3 and out to start the game. And number 19, Travis Himpson, back to take the punt. He kicks it. It's a low punt towards the sideline, and then it will go out of bounds towards about the 48 of Lackawanna. And now they will look to take the field and get on the board early on in this.
I think Lackawanna here is just going to play slowly but surely, because understanding their records and the powerhouse that they are, not only is it going to be a high-scoring game from one side or the other, but they really need to understand that they're just trying to get their feet wet on the Hocking side, and Lackawanna knows that they're the powerhouse in this.
So here comes quarterback Shane McLaughlin. He has a lot of weapons surrounding him in this offense. They use a lot of players throughout the game. 1st and 10, McLaughlin will drop back to throw on the first play. He's looking deep for the bomb on the first play, and he goes up and makes the catch at the 20-yard line. That's number 3, Norval Black, making the catch over the defender, and that's a great way to start the ball game for him.
That's a great way to establish dominance from an offensive play. One big bomb that puts you in the red zone with your first drive of your possession within the first quarter. You really know that this team is not messing around when it comes to football.
So the Falcons looking to go tempo here. They're already back up to the line. McLaughlin's got 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. They have to hold up a bit for the chains. And McLaughlin, he's got to give this one up the middle. And he's got a hole. He bursts through towards the defense down to the goal line. And he will be brought down at the 1-yard line. That was number 28, Nasir Hooker, on the carry to set the Falcons up inside the 5.
It is now just a 1st and goal, and really here, let's see if they can make it into 3 drives to get some, get some action in the paint and put 6 up on the board for Lackawanna.
So Lackawanna keeping the tempo up. McLaughlin has the play. He's got 2 receivers to the right, lining up in shotgun yet again. The ball is snapped. Give to Hooker again. He's moving towards the left side, but that's a big stop there for the by number 10, Van Dek Viscata. He comes shooting through to make the stop at the line of scrimmage.
That was a good read by the defense, understanding that they were going to run the ball to either side and knowing that they were trying to get that touchdown, but because of their defensive line abilities, they were able to stop him and drag him down for a loss of yards.
Yeah, maybe Lackawanna will look to get a little more creative in this one. They come out in the pistol. McLaughlin with Hooker in the backfield behind him. He will fake the handoff to him, looking right, throws it up to the end zone, and it is dropped in the end zone by Javon Turner. He was open at the back corner of the end zone, but it just slipped through the hands on that one.
There was a lot of good pressure from Hocking with number 13, Ethan Carver. He went and tackled him right after, and that might have been the reason why that ball was lofted so high and out of the hands of the receiver in the end zone.
This would definitely be a big stop for Hocking to pick up here early in the first quarter. 11:44 left to go. And it's now 3rd and goal from the 5. McLaughlin with Hooker in the backfield with him. He lines up, takes a snap. He looks over the middle. He's got pressure. He's rolling out to the left, fires it to the end zone, and it's another drop in the end zone for the Falcons. That's 2 back-to-back plays they could have scored, but it looks like they're going to settle for a field goal on this one now.
That's a big stop for Hocking College because Lackawanna has the ability to score. Obviously, they had that big bomb of a first play, and they just couldn't push it right into the end zone, so they forced them to only 3 points, making their deficit a lot smaller than what it could have been.
So now it's Isaiah Howard on for the field goal attempt. It's looking like about a 21-yarder from where he is. He lines it up. Looks like Hocking could be coming for this one. Snap down, kick is up. And it splits the uprights to give Lackawanna a 3-0 lead with 11:33 to go in the first half. But you got to think that's a big stop there for Hocking down on the goal line.
I think this also gives Hocking a boost of confidence because not only did they prevent them from scoring that touchdown, but they have the ability to put up a fight against this offense. And this offense has been consistently explosive with a 7-0 record. It gives them a chance to really prove themselves with this next possession.
Yeah, for sure. Lackawanna offense averaging 37.7 points a game, so they can put points on the board on you quick. So that it's good to hold them to just 3 there, and now hopefully the offense can get something going on this drive.
Michael Walker, Andrew Novak, and Dennis Smith deep for the Hawks.
Isaiah Howard, he's lining up to the special teams unit again to take the kickoff. Dennis Smith back deep to receive yet again for the Hawks. So the kick is away from Howard, and it looks like it's heading towards the sideline, and that one will go out of bounds. That will draw the penalty marker and bring it out to the 40-yard line. Not a good kick there from Howard.
That was not a good kick, but it might be the cold and it might be the jitters just getting to him. It's the start of the first quarter, and it's a little nippy out here in southeastern Ohio, so at least he got it out of the way, and he can perform throughout the rest of the game, but that does give good field position for Hocking.
For sure, Hocking will take over at the 35-yard line, and they will send the offensive unit back out. It looks like Michael Stanley Stanley is taking the field for this drive yet again, so they'll look to get something going. So 1st and 10 from their own 35-yard line for the Hawks. Stanley, he's got trips to the right once again, 1 receiver to the left, looking like he's making a check at the line of scrimmage. Now he sits back in the pistol yet again with his running back behind him, Therese Sherman. Snap, they're going to give it. Play action to Sherman, looking over the middle to number 1, Dennis Smith, but this throw is over his head.
It was a well-executed play with the exception of the pass. I mean, they faked out the defense, and there was just the open in the flat. But because the pass was too high, he couldn't just jump up and grab it and put it in his hands.
Yeah, this is not what the kind of game you want to miss opportunities like that. Smith was screaming open over the middle of the field. Hopefully Stanley will hit his target on the next one. Now Stanley.
On the offensive side, they've just been hitting targets from Stanley to Brown.
Yeah, big drive for sure on that one. They go pretty much, they take advantage of the good field position and they drive down the field, and now they'll line up for the extra point. That is number 19, Travis Himpson, lining up for the kick. He gets the okay from the snapper. Snap is down, kick is up, and it is blocked by a Lackawanna defender, so they will not get the extra point, and the lead will stay at 6-3 for the Hawks.
Even if they did block that punt, it is still a really big accomplishment for this Hocking College offense because they put the first touchdown on the board, not the truth and behold star of the show, Lackawanna, and it's a real big turn of the tables of who's in control of this game.
Yeah, that's one of those touchdowns where you think, Claire, that it can build momentum towards. It definitely build up the hopes on the Hawks sideline, and maybe get the Falcons worried a little bit.
Not only could it get the Falcons worried, it could get the Falcons mad. And with anger in football, they're going to want to score on this drive real quick and real fast and establish, and put back into their place of who wants control of this game.
But yeah, we mentioned Delane Brown leading the team in receptions and yards with 11.6 yards per catch on the season, and he had a big drive for sure on that one. So now Himpson will line up to kick off from the 35. And the kick is away from Himpson, and it looks like a bit of a pooch kick. It will be scooped up at the 20-yard line, now running sideways towards the near sideline, and he is met by a swarm of Hocking defenders. Good coverage there on the kick.
The good coverage there came with speed because their kick return team really read that and knew where he was going to juke and juke left and right from, so they covered that wide open gap of where there was space to run and just took him down.
Yeah, so Lackawanna will look to put a touchdown on the board this time. They're taking over at the 25, at their own 25-yard line. McLaughlin brings his offense back on the field. And, we saw that no huddle from them on the first drive. We'll look to see if they keep that up here and keep the fast tempo that they were playing with on their first drive. So McLaughlin lines up. He's got 3 receivers to the left. Hooker next to him in the backfield. He takes a snap to give. It's to Nasir Hooker. He busts up the middle. He's got a big hole. And he's breaking tackles all the way down to the 35-yard line. Late flag comes in on the play, though, so we're going to see what that is. If the play stands, it should be a first down for Lackawanna. So it's looking like it's going to be a face mask on the Hawks, and that's going to move the ball up 15 yards, and you can't have penalties like that.
Penalties like that just kill the momentum and kill the vibe of the team because it's big deficits that put them across the 50-yard line in, defense territory.
So now Lackawanna already back on the ball. They're at the 50-yard line, and there is a stoppage. Referees discussing maybe perhaps the spot of the ball on that one. I mean, early on in this game, you can see the big holes in the Hocking defense every time that Lackawanna looks to run the football. They've kind of done whatever they wanted to with that.
Not only that, but they have just big holes on the, defense. Well, with the defense out in the open as well with their big passes and being able to just throw bombs and have very little coverage out there and attain those big yardage.
So it looks like we got everything cleared up here with the referee looking at the scoreboard. Not sure if it's a time management issue or where the ball is spotted, but
10-16 on the clock. 10-16.
we will look to get that sorted here fast and get back to action. You gotta almost wonder if this stoppage is kind of killing the Falcons' tempo that they have been trying to set in this game so far.
It's little things like this that can make or break a team with time delays and things like that.
So it looks like they were changing the game clock. They switched it to 10:16 left in the game, and now the clock is running. McLaughlin, he's got doubles to both sides. Got Hooker to the left, sends his receiver in motion. He will take the snap, give the Hooker back up the middle. He bursts through into the second level and will pick up a gain of 6 on that one.
It was a beautifully executed play with just a bolt up the middle, and then he had this spin move go right over top of his defenders, attaining a couple yards.
Yeah, Hooker has not been the feature back in the offense so far. He's second on the team in carries, but he has been getting the load so far in this one. So now yet again coming out in doubles, sending his receiver in motion. McLaughlin takes a snap, gives it to Hooker yet again. He runs right side, and he will have another first down up to about the 37-yard line.
I think Hooker's really looking for his opportunity to shine here, considering that they go into this game with such a high record and such a lot of accreditations with this team. So he's trying to make his name and make a statement on his team and not only have a fighting chance for being the #1 running back on his roster, but have a shot at being rotated in just as often.
So McLaughlin, 3 receivers to the left. He's going to play action to Hooker, fires over the middle, looking for the big tight end, but he cannot hook up with him. That was number 84, James Stanley, the 6'4 sophomore out of Marion, South Carolina. He could not pull that one in.
It just touched the tip of his fingers. It was a little too high for him and out of reach, and he couldn't pull it down to keep it steady.
Yep, Stanley definitely a big target out there for McLaughlin. He was looking for him over the middle there. So now 2nd and 10, 9:01 to go in the quarter. 3 receivers to the left here for the Falcons. McLaughlin, he will once again go play action. Hooker looks over the middle, and it is batted down by the defender. That's number 24, Jeffrey Watkins, on the play.
Jeffrey Watkins is over there shaking his head because he was right there out in the open, and he was kind of shaking his head of why didn't I catch that and intercept the ball, but either way, it was a productive defensive move.
Yeah, it's looking like McLaughlin was looking to force the issue there a little bit. Now he's facing a 3rd and long here, and he's got doubles now. Hooker once again in the backfield to the right side of McLaughlin. He will take the snap. Rushing 4 are the Hawks. McLaughlin steps up, looking downfield. He's got a target, number 86, open at the 5-yard line, and he will haul it in. That is Xavier Harris on the catch, and the Falcons are back in business.
The Falcons are now in the red zone, and it's scoring time. This is really where it's make or break because last time they went 3 and out and had to kick a field goal. So if they can, again, take this bomb and use the momentum from that big pass, it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, they're definitely going to look to punch this one in this time and take the lead back. McLaughlin, he has Hooker next to him in the backfield once again. He's going to take the snap and give it to Hooker left side. He's going to cut towards the middle and get about a yard down to the 3-yard line. Another good stop there for Hocking inside the red zone.
I think what Hocking has to look for next in this play is on the sides because they've tried pushing it up the middle once. They tried using to the side during the second drive the last time Lackawanna was in the red zone.
Number 36, running back Reggie Jean Harris checks into the game. He will look to give it to him up the middle. He's going to walk his way, and he crosses the goal line for the touchdown for the Falcons. They substituted running backs, a little bit bigger guy, 6 feet, 215 pounds, Gene Charles, and he got the job done for him on that one.
And just a little bit bigger of size and hands, it makes or breaks of whether or not you can score because it's the ability to tackle and topple those defensive linemen and eventually hop over them and put your hands into the paint.
Yeah, that's Gene Charles' 5th touchdown on the season. As we said, he is 6 feet, 215 pounds. He's a little bit bigger back than Hooker. And they put him in on the goal line, and now the extra point is up and good, and it'll be 10-6 here with 7:45 to go in the first quarter.
This isn't such a bad first quarter as some might have expected from Hocking because they're putting up a relatively tough battle. They've held them to a 3 and out and forced them into the field goal with their first drive, and now they're just 4 points behind them with a touchdown that they attained first, and that's really where Hocking has to build their momentum from again is knowing that they were the first ones to score a touchdown in this board.
Yeah, it's early on in the game. The game plan for the Falcons looks to be to just out-physical the Hawks, and they're running the ball heavily with Hooker. And as you see, they put the big boy in on the goal line to take it across. So that definitely looks like the game plan early on for the Falcons. So Howard once again lining up the ball on the tee. And he will look to kick away. Look to get a better kick than last time and hopefully not give Hocking as good field position as they have had. So Howard's lined up to take the kick. He runs up and boots it away. Looks like a little bit more of a squib kick on this one. It is fumbled by the Hocking returner. Now he's running towards the near sideline, looking to the outside, and it looks like they are going to get him for a horse collar tackle on that one. And yet again, Hocking's going to get some good field position to start another drive.
With that quick little run right there was number 5, Andrew Novak, and he was taken down in a steady horse collar, but he recovered really well after that fumble, and I don't think he expected to have the ball in his hands and have that ball fly quite as low as it did.
Yeah, it looks like there's another flag on the far side of the field as well. It looked like a player's helmet might have got ripped off, so the referees are going to have to talk about this one and figure out where the penalty is going.
Another thing to point out about the helmet flying off is there's been a new rule instilled across the football of America, basically, where if a helmet flies off, that player has to sit out one game due to concussion protocol, not only in NJCAA, independent teams, but the NFL, high school teams, and across the nation. It's been instilled to keep players safe and out of harm's way in the sport of football.
So they're going to get a face mask on that one. That penalty will be declined, but they also get a horse collar tackle, which is what we saw here on the near sideline, and that'll give Hocking some good field position yet again, and hopefully they look to replicate what they did on the last drive when Stanley found Brown on those 3 plays, and then they punched it into the end zone.
I think what's keeping this momentum right now is the ability of Hocking's dedication to football. They came out, looking prepared and looking confident during their pregame warm-ups. There was a lot of chatter and a lot of excitement and screaming and chanting, as most football teams do. And that's really what's keeping them afloat, is their mentality that they can hang in this game. Doesn't matter what record they are, doesn't matter how good they are. But if we can play the best that we can, eventually we'll succeed in one way or another.
Right. So 1st and 10 from the 39-yard line. Stanley with his running back in the backfield. He's going to go play action. Now he's flushed out to the right, telling his receiver to go downfield. He's looking for Brown again, but this time it's knocked away. Nice play on that one by Jaquan Brisker, who got burnt a couple times on that last drive, but he makes a good play on that one.
That ball was intended for number 3, Delane Brown, but because of the good coverage from Lackawanna, it really was a battle of who can get in front of this ball first.
Yeah, we've seen some battles from those two early on in this one. They've been looking to Brown a lot so far in this game. He's been facing a lot of pressure, and he will be sacked back at the 50-yard line. Great pressure there from the Hawks.
And that sack should be recorded from number 92, Andrew Anderson, because he just wrapped his arms down and tackled him to the ground with all of his might. And that's a big stop for Hocking College, because that pushes them back about 6 or 7 yards, where the interception was putting them a lot closer with the line of scrimmage.
Yep, they got a real good push on the offensive line on that one. They were able to bring McLaughlin down deep in the backfield. It was now 2nd and 21 from the 48-yard line. McLaughlin will take the snap. He's going to give it back to Hooker. Hooker cuts left. He's got a hold to the left sideline, crosses the 40 down to about the 38-yard line to make this 3rd down a little bit more manageable for him.
And that's the ability with Hooker. His speed and his strength can really push up the sides and find those pockets and take advantage of them, putting them right back near that line of scrimmage for a 3rd down.
So McLaughlin, he looks to the sideline to get the play. He's going to line up with trips to the right once again. Hooker will be next to him in the backfield on 3rd down. McLaughlin takes a snap. He's going to give it to Hooker again, cuts to the right, and he will pick up a solid gain of 4, but that will bring up 4th down. It's looking like it's going to be 4-down territory here for the Falcons.
It should be interesting to see if they end up trying this 4th down to try and get a 1st down after it. Maybe we look for a big pass or a big rush yard with a trick play here or there, but even if they do turn the ball over, it's where it would be spotted if there was a regular kick return.
So McLaughlin does stay on the field for 4th down. He's going to take the snap. He looks left, and he's going to step in the pocket and take off with this one, and he will be brought down close to the 1st down marker, and it looks like with that spot he's going to have it.
And that's a big play for Lackawanna, because they risked, turning the ball over right on their own 30, right on the 35-yard line. Yes, it would have been kind of where a relatively normal kick return would have been spotted, but it's good to see that they are making progress on 4th down conversion.
Yeah, McLaughlin, he felt the pressure in the pocket, stepped up and found a lane and picked up the 1st down. So now he's going to line up here with 3 receivers to the left and He's going to give it to Hooker on the counter. Hooker bursts up the middle, and he will pick up a gain of 8.
They even spotted him before. They gave him 9.
Yeah, it's looking like the fact they're trying to wear down this team with Hooker. They've been giving him the ball a lot so far in this first quarter. So now 2nd and 2 for the Falcons, and once again they're going to give the ball to Hooker. He runs up the middle, and it looks like he's going to have another first down pickup down to about the 16-yard line of the Hawks.
After getting that first down, they are now back into the red zone, a familiar place for Lackawanna. They've been in this area for about 3 times now and have scored on every drive with the exception of the first one, but they still put points on the board with that field goal, and it's just a matter of time to see how many drives it takes for them to get back into that paint.
Yeah, so McLaughlin, he's going to line up, check at the line of scrimmage. He's going to look to pick up another big play here. Hooker shifts over to the left. Now he's going to motion his receiver over. McLaughlin drops back to throw. He fires it towards the area of his receiver. Tough coverage, and it was almost intercepted in the end zone by one of the Hocking defenders.
Number 21, Kevin Copper, was the one who was in the area, and it let the ball slip through his hands. He was just in front of the pass, and if he would have got that, that would have just been a turn of events on the defensive side, passing back and forth interceptions between each other.
Yup, could have been a big play there for the Hocking defense down in the red zone yet again, but it just slips through his fingertips. And now it'll be 2nd and 10 here with 3:27 left in the quarter. Lackawanna with a 10-6 lead as they will look to add to it. They're going to give it back to Hooker. He's got a hole up to the left side, breaks a tackle, and he will truck his way down to the 14-yard line for a short pickup.
It's 3rd down, and this is really where Hocking College shows their defense and puffs their chest of we can hold you to just a field goal. So it's really crucial for Lackawanna to be able to pick up a first down or even get a little bit closer to the posts so they can kick a field goal again.
Yeah, so it's 3rd and 7 from the 14-yard line as McLaughlin, he's got 2 receivers to both sides. He will take the snap. He's going to fake the handoff to Hooker. He's looking to run it yet again. Now he looks to throw to his tight end, Stanley, but it bounces off his fingertips, and that will bring up 4th down. It'll be interesting to see what the Falcons do on this 4th down.
It was really good pressure put on by the defense because it forced them to throw the ball low and really threaten the idea of having a sack put in. It looks like their kicking team is coming out.
Yep, so that's Isaiah Howard. He converted on his first field goal from 21 yards out. Now he's going to look to hit another one and extend the Lackawanna lead. And you see a very vocal sideline for the Hawks so far in this one.
And that's exactly what Hocking has to do in order to keep their confidence up and keep their heads inside of this game.
So about a 31-yarder here for Howard. The kick is down and up, and it looks good. He splits the uprights, and he will extend the Lackawanna lead to 13-6, with just 2:41 remaining in the first quarter.
I think Lackawanna is playing it safe right now by not going for that 4th down conversion and putting them closer because they know that this Hocking defense and this Hocking offense can just as well put the ball back into that paint because they were the first ones to score, so they have the ability to do so, and they're just taking their sweet time with putting it down the field.
So yeah, Lackawanna maybe a little disappointed with the field position to not be able to put a touchdown on the board, but they do add to their lead, and that's all you can ask for early on in this game. So Isaiah Howard, he's going to line this one up on the tee yet again. You've noticed he's kind of been focused on the right hash in this game the whole time.
His last kick, though, went out of bounds, putting that penalty against them. So maybe we'll see something go more towards the left after this.
Yeah, he's kind of been more of a squib kick mentality in this one, and this one he will boot it deep, and it will be fielded at the 10-yard line. He turned around and runs up towards the middle of the field. He's got a lane, and he gets a good return out to the 30-yard line before he's brought down by a number of special teamers for the Falcons.
And it is the Falcons' chance to redeem themselves and put points back on the board. They've got okay field position around the 32-yard line, and they have the rest of the field to charge down. But we know that the chemistry between the quarterback and the wide receiver, Brown, is just impeccable, and he can throw those bombs and attain those first downs.
I think so far you're really got to be inspired by this energy that Hocking has brought into this game, facing a 7-0 nationally ranked opponent when you're just 1-5. It can be hard to get up and play and it can be hard to get up for this game, but they've really done a good job in doing so.
And I think that's just a mentality thing, building up to this game and understanding that, yes, we will put our heart and soul into it regardless of what the outcome may or may not be, but to still be proud of your work and what you have done on the field regardless of what the outcome of the score will be at the end of this.
So Stanley, he leads the offense back out on the field, and he looks like he's talking to the official about something. Trying to figure out what's going on. Maybe it's another game clock issue, perhaps. But talking more about Stanley, he didn't get that many snaps in the first few games of the season. Then he kind of took over Week 4, and he's kind of been the guy for the offense ever since.
Yeah, Stanley's really proved himself in Week 4, considering that he had that win. But not only that, he took a little bit of a break last week, and that might be for just recovering and recuperating, or if it was a tough week during the academic school year. And he's really came back and proven himself on this field because he had the ability to score with Brown as his receiver and just place the ball in his hands and make these drives happen.
Yeah, you can definitely tell he has a confidence in Delane Brown. He does not shy away from throwing him the football. So as we're still trying to get this sorted here, not exactly sure what the issue is. I think it's another issue with the game clock as it now reads 23:30, which obviously is not correct. Been a few stoppages in this game so far. Wondering how that's affecting how the players are taking it.
I think the players are just kind of, a little. I could be annoyed if I was on the field and there was a stoppage. I'd be a little annoyed because it's not something you can control and you're just trying to play your game.
Well, we got the clock fixed again. 2:33 to go in the first quarter, and Stanley, he's going to give it on the jet to number 17, and he will be stopped down after picking up a yard. Not too much room to run on that one.
Eric Cross got stopped right on his own line of scrimmage. It was a good attempt by dashing across and in front of the quarterback behind the line of scrimmage, but they just read him because of how fast he was and understood that he was trying to make a sweep to the right. So they read him like a book and just put him down where he started. Yeah,
Hocking looked to get a little bit on the edge on that play. Did not work out too well for him. That'll bring up 2nd down and 10. Stanley's got 3 receivers to the right. And now he looks over the sideline. He's going to check the play at the line of scrimmage with his lineman. Now Stanley lined up in the backfield. He's going to give it up the middle to his running back who bursts through the hole for a gain of 9, or maybe across the sticks for the first down. That's number 27, Aaron Watkins on the carry, and that's a first down for the Hawks.
That was a good first down. He just dropped his shoulder and pushed his defenders out of the way while keeping the ball in his hands and not fumbling it around. And it proved themselves they can have one bad mistake, but they can recover and make a gain for it.
Yeah, that was Watkins' first carry on the day, and he will remain in the game behind Stanley. Stanley will take the snap. He's going to give it to Watkins again, but this time there's no room to run. Shooting through that gap was number 30. It was number 38, Andre Blanket on the tackle.
They read that like a book. They knew they were going to use him again because he was productive within his first run and his first carry of the game. So Lackawanna understood that was the next game plan before it even happened.
And it looks like there was some chatter there at the line of scrimmage. There is a flag thrown on the play. We're going to see what that is. It's looking like an unsportsmanlike on the Hawks, and that's another drive-killing penalty that you can't afford to have when you're the underdog in a game like this.
Not only that, it kills your confidence on your team because even if you have such a big ego and you have so much confidence in your ability to play, it's not beneficial to your team overall with an attitude performance because it's things like that where they will become repetitive and they're just going to kill the momentum of your team.
Yep, that will take the ball back to the 26-yard line of the Hawks. Just a back-breaking penalty there. As we said, the Hawks, we saw that little pregame thing where they met at midfield and they were fired up for this one, but you got to be able to channel that and use it when it's appropriate. So Stanley lines up in the backfield. He's got trips to the right once again. He will take the snap. He drops back. He looks to the right. Now he fires back left, but the pass will fall incomplete. He was looking for number 84, Corey Lyons, on that one.
Not only was Corey Lyons in the area, but so was Lackawanna's defensive number 46, Tariq Smith. He was just out of reach, and it was just a little too far out of the side for him to get that, interception. But it was a low pass, and it was more than capable to be caught and turn that into a pick six.
Yeah, that's going to bring up another 3rd and long for the Hawks. They've faced a lot of those so far in this first half with the penalties on their own side of the field. Stanley walks up to the line. He checks with his lineman. He's got 3 receivers. He's got trips to the right, 1 receiver to the left. Stanley takes the snap. He drops back. Penalty marker on the play, and they are coming hard for him, and he is sacked back at the 15-yard line. They brought the house on that one, did the Falcons, but there is a flag down on the play, so we will check that.
We'll see who this laundry applies to, and it looks like it's going to be a false start against Hocking, but it's been declined.
So that's going to bring up 4th down for Hocking, and that will bring the punt unit onto the field. So a good stop there for the Falcons.
After this kick, it's going to give Lackawanna really nice field position around the 50-yard line, depending on where this ball is, and it ends up being kicked in the area too. But that only means they have half the field to charge down and really put points on the board.
Yep, and we're having another clock issue here as they finally get it start rolling. So that's Travis Himpson back to take the punt for the Hawks, and he will boot it away, and it will be a low kick. It will be fielded on the bounce at the 49-yard line. He breaks towards the left sideline. He's got blockers, and he will be brought down at the 36-yard line. So another good starting field position for the Falcons.
That was a really nice 15-yard run. He let that ball bounce into his hands around the 50, and he's been placed around the 35 after going through a couple defenders and shooting up the left side of the field. So it's even less of a drive for his offensive line to keep moving forward and score.
Yeah, he had a quick burst up the left sideline on that play, and he will give his team great field. Many weapons that Lackawanna has on this offense, many different guys getting some touches and making plays for them.
Not only that, they have about 6 to 8 running backs on their roster, and each of them average about 5 carries per game. So they are always fresh with players coming on and off the bench ready to play.
So Howard would come in for the extra point yet again, looking to extend the lead to 20-6. And it looks like referee talking to Coach Matthews on the sideline, but now we are ready to line up for the kick here. And the spot is down, the kick is up, and it will split the uprights, and it will be 20-6 here early on in the second quarter in favor of the Falcons.
Like I mentioned earlier, Lackawanna wasted no time making a quick turnaround from the first quarter into the second quarter, just scoring it on their first drive of this, at the start of the end of this first half, and they're really just trying to put points up on the board and get as big of a lead as they can to feel comfortable about it.
Yeah, this Lackawanna team knows a lot about points. They average about 37.7 a game, and that's kind of been their trademark this season. They put up a lot of points on their opponents.
And that's just about how many points are allowed from Hocking's side. Points allowed per game is 36.5. So there's a big difference of points allowed and points scored from each side. And that's really why we have such an underdog story that's crucial for this line, crucial for this, outcome of today's game, because it's a 6-20, but that doesn't mean they can't put up another touchdown within this quarter.
Yep, this is probably going to be a key drive here for Hocking, see if they can get something going like they had on their second drive of the game and try to get back in this one a bit, as been a couple scores unanswered for the Falcons here in this one. So Howard line up to take the kick from the right hash. He boots it down the field. It will be fielded back at the 20-yard line, and he will run up the middle and get out to about the 39-yard line of the Hawks. So again, not that bad field position for him. Let's see if they can capitalize on it.
That was not bad field possession at all. After that catch, number 23, Therese Sherman had that run, and he just tried pushing himself as far up as he could to try and make it easier for his O-line to march down the field and put themselves into the paint.
Yeah, and it looks like we're going to have a quarterback change on this one. Number 4, Jamarius Stevens. He played in the first 3 games for Hocking, but he had not seen the same amount of snaps in the last 3 games that he had in the first couple games of the year, but now he's lined up at quarterback here. So Stevens will take the snap and give it to his running back, and he has nowhere to go. Stopped at the line of scrimmage. Again, good run defense there for the Falcons.
No gain on the play. 2nd and 10. Hawks from their own 33-yard.
It looks like the Hawks were stopped around their line of scrimmage with that rush up the middle and just were demolished with that Lackawanna defense really trying to prove that this is their game and not Hocking's.
So Stevens, he's going to come out in an empty backfield on this one, all by himself in the backfield. He will take the snap, drops, and looks quick to the left. Looked like a slight miscommunication on that one as his receiver was not ready for the ball, and that one flies incomplete.
It is now third and 10, and they really have to make this ball move in order to even try and feel comfortable with a 4th down.
Yeah, there's been a lot of 3rd and long situations early here for the Hawks, and you know it's tough to convert on 3rd and long, especially against a defense that's as good as this one.
Not only with the 3rd and long, but a new quarterback, Jamari Stevens, now being slotted in place of Michael Stanley. It's new territory for him, and he hasn't seen the action yet himself.
So Stevens lines up for the snap, and he'll take it. He's going to roll out to his right. He's looking downfield. He's got pressure. He's going to throw it, and it just comes out of his hand a little funny. There's no really receivers there. It looks like he was trying to throw that one away. Nevertheless, it is 4th down.
It is a 3-and-out situation for Hocking, and this isn't really what they wanted. They really wanted to get those first downs and at least be in enemy territory to give themselves a shot at putting it into the paint, but they just couldn't make it happen. With a new quarterback slotted into the position, it's not a good story. It's not a good mix for them right now.
Yeah, it's tough, especially when you're putting your defense right back on the field. That's kind of been out there a lot early on in this game. But that's Himpson back on the punt. Number 27, Jaquan Brisker back deep to receive for the Falcons as the punt is away, and it is a low kick. Stevens will field it back at the 31-yard line. He's breaking towards the left sideline. He's got some blockers up the sideline, and he will be brought down in Hawks territory.
That was about a 25-yard run, give him 30 even, and he was just trying to hurdle players and keep himself moving forward, looking for that end zone. But that gives them great field position because now they're in enemy territory even after their first kick return.
Yeah, Lackawanna has really won the field position battle early on in this game. They've been able to stop Hocking deep in their own territory and get their offense with a short field often in this first half. So McLaughlin comes back on the field leading his offense as they will look to put up another touchdown on this drive. He'll take the snap. He's going to give it to number 34. Number 34, Rashad Jackson, but he has stood up after just a gain of 1. Good stop there by the Hawks.
The Hawks really knew that he looked like kind of a bigger man as a running back, that it was going to be a little bit of a slower start off when he was handed off that ball, so it gave the defense a chance to jump on gave the defense a chance to jump on that opportunity and really take hold of it, putting him back at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, another running back checking into the game for Lackawanna, as we talked about the versatile weapons they have on their offense. But now McLaughlin takes snap. He's going to drop back, looking downfield over the middle. He finds receiver Javion Turner, and he will be brought down inside the 20 to about the 17-yard line of the Hawks.
That flat was wide open in just green space wherever you could see it. He took his chance and fired the ball into Turner's hands, and that made them have a first down within the red zone. And
Lackawanna keeping that tempo up. They're playing fast so far in this game. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 17-yard line, and there is another stoppage in play by the officials. That's been about the 4th or 5th in this first half. Been a lot of seems clock issues in this game.
And that's the problem with when it comes to little small games like this. There's a lot of inconsistencies that can slow down the momentum of a team and build up momentum of others.
Yeah, especially a team like the Falcons that like to play up-tempo. It can really slow them down, but they're going to play action, fires it over the middle to his tight end, number 84, James Stanley. Over the middle of the field, there was nobody around him, and he walks into the end zone for yet another Falcons touchdown.
With a nice kind of a fake pump pass, looking more so towards the left end of that end zone. He just fired it straight down the center and put him right into the paint to acquire another 6 points for the Hawks.
Yeah, Stanley's a big target at 6'4". That's his first touchdown reception for the sophomore out of Marion, South Carolina, to extend the lead for the Falcons. Isaiah Howard will be on the field yet again to attempt the extra point. And the spot is down, kick is up, and Howard drills it yet again to make it 27-6 here early on in the second quarter. And maybe this game's slipping away from the Hawks a little bit.
We can notice that in their, attention to the kick. I mean, the last time that Lackawanna scored and they were putting it through the spigots, it's that they were chanting block that kick, and they really had their energy up and putting, some confidence back into the line, the line of the kicking team. But now if we looked at that one, the sidelines were dead quiet, and there hasn't been anything else kind of said from the team thus far, and cheering and chanting and keeping their, confidence up.
Yeah, early on we could hear it from up here. The block that kick chant, not too prevalent on that kick. You maybe see the spirits dropping a little bit for the Hawks on that sideline.
And that's really what they can't have, is an attitude adjustment, because that's really what drove them to score that first touchdown, was their attitudes and their ability to say, we have just as much of a right to play as hard as we can as you do. And it's things like that that will make or break a team and how they play that game.
So Howard yet again lining up the ball on the right hash, looking to kick this one away. Same returners back deep for the Hawks. Howard kicks the ball away, and it will be fielded back at the 20-yard line. He bursts up the left sideline, and big hit there by number 43 for Lackawanna. That is Leo Quigley on the big hit on the kick return.
Not only on that kick return was there a big hit, but it seemed to be there was some miscommunication of who was going to catch that. We had about 4 men in the area, and 2 of which were right on top of each other, and it was just I got it real quick right before it landed in his hands, and a point at the other direction so I can run. So that was the second time that it happened, and it really set them up kind of farther back than they probably wanted as an offensive line.
Yeah, definitely some confusion on who was going to field that kick, as we see Jamari Stevens taking the field at quarterback, as Stanley will remain on the sideline. So 1st and 10 from their own 26-yard line. Stevens will take the snap. He drops back to throw. He's looking towards the far sideline, towards Brown, and it is once again broken up by Jaquan Brisker, who's been covering Brown all day long.
Seems like Jaquan Brisker has really figured out how Jamari Stevens has been passing to Brown, and it's really easy for him to pick up on that and block those and possibly even intercept those balls passed to him.
Yeah, he got burnt a couple times early on in this game, but he has recovered and broken up the last couple plays that have came his way. So good adjustments there from Brisker. And Brown has not made a catch since that big touchdown drive that the Hawks had in that first quarter.
And that might be a chemistry thing between the second quarterback and what we have with Brown.
So now 2nd and 10. He takes a snap. He's going to do a little shovel pass to number 86. Number 86, Amandes Jones at tight end, and he will scamper to the 40-yard line for a first down.
That was a really just quick shove and hope for the best kind of a situation, and it worked out in their favor, luckily, and that's one of those we're glad it happened, but let's not do that again situations where the miscommunication somehow worked in their favor, but hopefully they'll be able to communicate a little stronger.
Yeah, you can definitely see a lot of play action trying to, take the defensive eyes somewhere else early on in this first half. And now they're on the move again, picking up their first down in a couple drives. So now Stevens, he's checking at the line of scrimmage.
In comparison to their last drive, they were 3 and out. So this is some forward movement progress, stomping down the field slowly but surely, trying to get another touchdown for their points on the board.
Yep, trying to eat up some clock, give the defense some time to rest on the sideline is a big deal for sure. Now Stevens, he's going to hand the ball to number 23, Tyrese Sherman, who has nowhere to go. Great penetration from the Falcons D-line, and he is stopped in the backfield.
That was just a big dog pile of Falcons all over him, and they knew he hesitated instead of juking forward and ran backwards trying to avoid everybody and just came back and demolished him, which is a big setback comparing to where they were set up with the last set of downs, and they're kind of back in that position.
Yeah, just no Falcons and maybe force a stop and get the ball back in their offense's hands. So McLaughlin, he leads his offense back out onto the field. He's got running back number 34, Rashad Jackson, next to him in the backfield. 2 receivers both sides. Now he's going to motion his receiver out to the right, and he's going to fake it and throw it out to his receiver, who makes a couple guys miss and will pick up a modest gain of 4. That's number 18, Quentin Sanders, on the reception.
It was really a nice reception. He kept his eyes open and above his head, not looking down, just to make sure that there was some defenders he could juke out. And that's where he gained some yards and made that a bit of a longer run than he had expected. Yeah, a lot of play action, quick throws for the Falcons so far in this game, looking like that's been a part of the game plan. So McLaughlin lines up. Jackson still next to him in the backfield. He's got trips to the left. He brings his receiver in motion yet again. Takes a snap. He's going to give it to Jackson straight up the middle. He cuts to the left. He's got some room to the outside, and he bulldozes his way down to about near the first down marker. If that's a spot, it's looking like he's got it, and that's another first down for the Falcons. Back-to-back first downs and back-to-back real nice plays. It's just been the momentum of how this Lackawanna team has really taken control and making this, they were spotted around the 35 or 30-ish yard line from the kick return, and really making sure that even with the lacking of a field position, that they can still perform. So it's a first down here for the Falcons, 1st and 10 from their own 40. McLaughlin, he's going to give it to Jackson yet again up the middle, and he escapes one tackler, but he has nowhere to go. He is stopped at the line of scrimmage by a swarm of Hawks defenders. It took a couple of them to drag him down because he had just as much power as that one offensive player did. So it took a couple of them to dogpile and just leave him on the line of scrimmage to ensure that he wasn't going anywhere else but down. Yeah, Jackson is just one of the many backs that these guys use for sure. Now McLaughlin, he's going to come out in an empty backfield. One of the first times we've seen that today from them. 2nd and 10 from their own 42. Now he's going to hand it to number 25, Marquise DeShields, and he will bulldoze his way down for a gain of 5 to make it 3rd and manageable here for the Falcons. Third down conversions have been a little tough for Lackawanna. We've seen it in the end zone and in the red zone a couple times where they have been stopped from this Hocking defense, and it's going to be crucial to see if they can keep this momentum moving forward. So 3rd and 5 here. Hawks looking to make a key stop for their defense, try to get the offense back on the field. It would be a big accomplishment to make the stop here now. McLaughlin, 3 receivers to the left. He will drop back. He's looking that way. He's got pressure. He's rolling out, flushed out to his left. He's going to take it himself and slide down. It looks like he's short of the first down marker. We're going to see what the Falcons decide to do here on 4th down. It wouldn't be too big of a risk considering that Lackawanna can really move the ball for themselves and put it back out there. But it looks like we have a change of teams, so maybe they are putting their kicking teams out onto the field. Even then, they tried their best, and as a quarterback, if you can't rely on anybody else, rely on yourself, and that's exactly what he did. He ran it up, and he did as well as he could. So that's Bradley King back to punt there for the Falcons. This will be their first punt of the day, and that's number 89, Michael Walton, back to receive the kick for the Hawks as the snap is down and the kick is away, and he doesn't get all of that one. It is not a very long punt at all. It will about roll down to about the 36-yard line of the Hawks, and they will get some decent field position to start this next drive. Yeah, little mistakes like that from Lackawanna has really helped Hocking put themselves back on their feet and put their heads back into the game as well, where they have a good field position considering after that kick it was a high and just in the air and just dropped. Yeah, didn't get all of that one for sure. So 5:58 to go here. Scored 27-6 in favor of the Falcons as Stevens comes out for his 3rd straight drive at quarterback, and he'll look to get Hocking back into the end zone like they were early on in the first quarter. If we're looking at as a turnout for the Hocking team today, we have a majority of the fans here in the area, so that should help them. Yeah, for sure. They give it to number 27, Aaron Watkins, and he has stood up right away on that one. No room to run. And, again, good run defense from the Falcons. And we had a helmet pop off by offensive lineman number 70. And number 70, pardon me, where Michael Harris, the defensive tackle who was also thrown on the line, he has to go out for that one play because of the NCAA concussion protocol. Yep, so it looks like Stevens going to line up and empty yet again. It will be 2nd and 10 from their own 36-yard line. Clock running, 5:40 to go here in the half.
as he steps up to the line and checks the play with his lineman. So Stevens will take the snap, drops back, 5-step drop. He's under pressure yet again. He's flushed out of the pocket to the left, and he just throws this one away into the Lackawanna bench.
It looks like he was trying to pick up his receiver, number 81, and he just wasn't there, and it was a little too high and too much pressure. Number 81 is Miles Charlie, and it's just things like that where you have to keep your ball under control and have your offensive line prevent from the defense to get away and try and come after you.
Yeah, Stevens has a lot of pressure coming directly into his face in this one. Good job by the defensive tackles of the Falcons. And now they were going to have to look to convert yet another third down. That's kind of been the theme of for this offense in the first half.
It's 3rd and long, and they have all 10 down, and they have all 10 yards to go to try and get a first. But nothing but confidence could only help in a situation like this.
So Stevens, he's going to take the snap, drops back, looking Brown's way. He's going to throw it that way into double coverage, leaping, and what an interception for the Falcons. That is number 33, Sylvanius Wagoha. What a great acrobatic catch on that one.
That was one heck of a stretch for that, and I think he was intending for number 9 on that pass as well, Quantavious Laguerre. And it's just passes like that where you have to know who's open and who's not, instead throwing it into the hands of your opponent. Granted, they are around the 25-yard line, so they still have a lot of ground to cover after getting that interception, but I think that is about the 3rd interception we've had this game thus far.
Yeah, it looked like Stevens was trying to force something that wasn't there on that play, throwing into double coverage, but it was a great interception there for the Falcons, and they will take back over on offense and look to put some more points on the board before halftime. So McLaughlin, he comes out with the offense. He's going to take the snap, play action there, steps up in the pocket, looking downfield deep for number 16, and he will make the catch. That is Javon Turner, who breaks the tackle, and he's going to go the distance to the end zone for a touchdown. Lackawanna, big play there. It only took them 1 play off the turnover to convert and extend their lead.
And that is the firepower with around 62% percentage throwing from the back and throwing from the quarterback. Javon Turner was just out there in the open, and it seemed that the defense gave up. They were kind of on his tail the whole time, but there was no effort to try and tackle him and make it first and goal with inches to cover, but they just let him walk into the end zone.
Yep, that's Javon Turner's 7th touchdown on the year. He's been a machine for this offense. He averages 16.9 yards per catch, and that one will definitely help the average for sure. So Howard on for the extra point yet again. Spots down, kick is up, and it is good, and it will be 34-6 with 5:55 to go in the first half in this one. Another big play strike for the Falcons, as that was one of the longest plays of the game.
That was the longest play of the game. They covered about 70 yards from both receiving and then running the ball after the catch was made. And it just shows the powerhouse and how much flexibility this team has within a roster and the plays that they can concoct with such a wide range of, talent.
Yeah, that's a 75-yard touchdown. That's McLaughlin's longest throw of the season. So quite impressive there, and it only took him 1 play off the turnover to convert.
At least it gives the defense a break. They only had to cover the field for 1 time, and they can get back into it and, catch their breath after going on and off the field so often. And this offense has to, be productive once more.
So Howard back on the field to take the kickoff. So the kick is on the way, and it will be fielded back at the 18-yard line as he breaks towards the middle of the field, looking for a lane, but there is nowhere to go. He's got the special teams unit closing in on him. He will be brought down back at the 27-yard line.
And it looks like there's going to be a scum between number 89 for Hocking and number 7 for Lackawanna. For Lackawanna, that is Alonzo Mitchell. And then for number 89 for Hocking, that is Michael Walton. So many things that the offense can do to try and psych them out and attain some yards, but there's only so many plays in the book that they can use.
Yeah, it almost looked like they were ready for Stevens to take off on that play. They had the linebacker spying him, and they were able to bring him down for a short game. And that will bring the punt unit back on the field for Hocking. That is Himpson, the punter, and he will take the snap, and it boots it away. And this is not a good kick. It kind of flutters out of bounds towards midfield. And punting has kind of been an issue for both teams early on in this game, not helping out their defenses with short fields.
Not only has it been an issue, but it's really cold here. I mean, standing in this press box, I can't feel my feet myself, and that might be an issue with these punters if they're only standing for so many minutes at a time. And it's a movement thing. If you stay if you're consistently moving around, you're going to consistently stay warm. But there's those breaks where if you're on your feet, you'll lose your heat, and it's things like that where it'll kill them, and you'll get awful kicks like that that'll go out of bounds or high in the air and give them good field, give them good field position.
See a little life coming out of this Hocking crowd as their defense takes over, looking to stop the Falcons, who started enemy territory at the 45-yard line. That's a new quarterback, number 10. He hands it to number 36. Number 36, Reggie Jean Charles, who had a touchdown early on in this game, and that's Reggie Schumacher coming in at Ryan Schumacher, coming in at quarterback as they make a change here in the first half.
I think seeing the change in the first half gives the sign that Lackawanna is comfortable with what the score is at the moment, and they have the ability to flex those players and give them a couple minutes to shine and give them some experience playing against a team, and let them put their throws in.
Yep, Schumacher's going to give it to Gene Charles again. He cuts and plows his way up the middle, across the first down marker down to about the 31-yard line.
Reggie did the best that they could.
So Schumacher back in the game as we're ready to get back underway here. 2 minutes to go here in the first half. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Falcons looking to punch it again. He's going to give it back to Nasir Hooker, who has stood up at the line of scrimmage. That's a good tackle by number 25, Travensky Edwards on that one.
They read him right after that injury, that short injury break we took where he was hustled or where he was carried off the field with his knee kind of limping, but they knew that they were going to take a small rushing after that.
So good play there for the Hawks as they look to make another stand in the red zone. 2nd and 10 here. Schumacher in the backfield with Hooker to his right. He's got 2 receivers to both sides. He's going to take the snap, look to the left, pumps once, looking to run. He finds a lane. He's got a lane to run. He crossed the first down marker and is then stood up. And then is then stood up by number 22, Nelvin Besses, but that's going to be, it looks like a first down for the Falcons.
And that's the thing when you look to find a quarterback with qualities. It's that if they get put in the position of making a quick decision is whether or not they can rely on themselves and have the ability to find a lane and drive that ball for a first down.
So we have another player down on the field, but let's talk about Schumacher. He hasn't really gotten too many snaps this year, been banging up McLaughlin all season, but you can see he's trying to make the most of the opportunity he's given.
I think Schumacher here is just trying to prove himself as a quarterback, because if McLaughlin is in the light a majority of this time leading this team, he wants to prove that he has just as much ability to do the same.
Yeah, so far he's led a pretty good drive. They've driven down into the red zone. He's got him inside the 10-yard line, and he's going to look to take him in here as we got the player getting helped off the field right now. He looks that he's going to be okay.
With back-to-back knee injuries from each team, they're going to be, hoping that this team member and this teammate can recover quickly and hopefully get back onto the field. But in the game of football, these happen all the time because of turf and the popularity of it, because you can use it as much as you need to, and it's not going to deteriorate as fast as grass. You get a lot more injuries because of how slippery those rubbers are.
So we're ready to continue action here. Schumacher takes snap. He pumps to the right, looking into the end zone. He's looking to take off again. He finds a lane and will get plowed down to about the 2-yard line. So Schumacher not afraid to run here coming into the game.
Not only is Schumacher not afraid to run, he had a lot of time to make that decision as well. He kind of stood in the pocket for a couple 5 to 6 seconds after the snap and just really took off and found his lane after. But once the defense found him, they found him and drove him to the ground right at the 2.5-yard marker.
Yep, it looked like Lackawanna called a timeout there to stop the clock with 54 seconds, as it definitely looked like they're going to try to punch another one in here before halftime. They've kind of had their way with Hocking so far in this game, and, they're trying to put them away before halftime, it seems.
I think Hocking's goal is just to prevent them from scoring and making this deficit even larger than it already is in the first place.
Yeah, that would be a confidence booster, maybe something you take into halftime if you can get this stop down in the red zone. They've done it a couple times before in this game, so we're going to see if they can stand up again. So it looks like the timeout is over. Both teams heading back onto the field. So it'll be 2nd and goal from the 3-yard line as Schumacher is in the backfield with his running back. Play, and it'll be fielded by Dennis Smith back at the 15-yard line. He cuts towards the middle, picks up a good gain, and he's brought down at about the 33-yard line. So let's see if Hocking is going to try to do something for the half or maybe just try to run out the clock.
Regardless, they are where this ball has been placed around the 33, 35-yard line. It's just exactly where they've been the whole time, so this is familiar territory for them.
Yeah, this has been around their starting position all day. As you see, Michael Stanley is checking back in at quarterback. This will be his 2nd time coming into the game. So, Hocking maybe trying to figure things out, what they're doing with their quarterback situation in this game. But right now it's Stanley taking back over. So Stanley, he's got 3 receivers to the left, 1st and 10 from his own 33-yard line, 44 seconds left to go. Stanley, he's going to give the draw to number 23, Sherman. He cuts towards the outside, and he is brought down by a couple of defenders.
And it looks like this Hocking team's just trying to run out the clock we're going to be approaching just under 30 seconds left in this first half. That they're just going to take their time.
Yeah, so 20 seconds in running now. Stanley, he's going to take the snap. He's going to look to throw on this one, throwing towards Delane Brown, his favorite target, but that ball will be intercepted back at the 40-yard line. That's number 33, Sylvanus Wagoba. That's his 2nd pick of the game. He's streaking down the left sideline. It looks like he's going to take it back to the house for the touchdown. Probably not what they wanted him to do there on the last play, but there is a flag down at the 35-yard line, so this one could be coming back.
With a pick 6 and like that, we will see if these points count with such flags thrown around.
Yeah, that is his 2nd interception of the game. He made an acrobatic one down at the 25-yard line early on, and that one was kind of thrown right to him, and he busted it down the left sideline for the touchdown if this play stands. But it looks like Hockey's pretty confident it's going to come back.
It was a beautiful, beautiful catch and a beautiful pick 6 from Sylvanus Waboga, but it's things like that where Hocking College has to know who's in the zone and who's not, and rely and look at your options and go, nobody's out there, might as well throw it away, or rely on yourself and try and rush it up a lane or two.
Yeah, they were looking for Delane Brown again on that one, but he was well covered yet again by Brisker, who's been on him for the entire first half, and it looked like they were trying to force him the ball there a little bit, and it ended up costing them.
Looks like Hocking College got really lucky with that play.
Yeah, it's going to take the touchdown off the scoreboard, so the score will remain the same, 41-6, Lackawanna. There's just 2 seconds left in the half, so we'll see if they just take a knee or if they're going to run one more play here. Schumacher is coming back out at quarterback here. So it'll be 1st and 10 from the 45-yard line. They are going to run a play. He just dumps it out to 86. They're going to try a double pass, and look who's wide open down the field. It is Javon Turner yet again wide open. There is a flag back at the line of scrimmage. It's looking like the ref might be signaling an illegal forward pass on that one. I don't know if he was behind the line of scrimmage or not. But if this play stands, what a trick play by Lackawanna right before halftime.
And it looks like that play has been called as an illegal forward pass, and that touchdown has been declined. So we were just moving into the second half. We are moving into halftime, I should say, with a score of 41 for Lackawanna College Falcons, along with 6 for Hocking College. And it's things like that where Lackawanna is just having fun with the game and doing trick plays like that where they're very intricate and require a lot of attention.
Yeah, but Lackawanna, two touchdowns waved off the board on the last 2 plays of the half, or else this game could have been even a little bit worse on the scoreboard. But we're going to take it in at 41-6 going into halftime.
And we're going to take a short break after this. We will come back with some stats and keep in tune.
Yeah, it's toast. So we're back here on Campus Nation. It's halftime from Boston Field in Nelsonville, and we've got Lackawanna College 41 and Hocking College 6. And Greg, Lackawanna has some talent.
Yeah, they're pretty good. You can just see their defensive line. That's one strength that they have. They have a lot of strengths. But when you look at their defensive line, they're really causing a lot of havoc, and those running backs aren't getting many lanes to run the ball. And the quarterback, he's been under pressure a lot today. So when the defensive front is getting that much pressure, it makes your secondary, which is also really good, it gives them it makes it easier for them to cover because it's only going to be 1 or 2 seconds.
Yeah, and we can see why they're ranked number 6 in the country. They've got a lot of long, lean athletes, especially on the outside at corner and wide receiver. And their running backs run hard. They don't go down with 1 or 2 hits. They just keep on churning the feet. So Hocking, I'm sure Coach Matthews will go in and get some adjustments, and they just got to slow this train down in the second half.
Yeah, they have to try to get a few stops, and some of those turnovers and those interceptions from the offense, they really have to cut down those because when you're playing a team as good as Lackawanna, you can't give them the extra opportunities. You have to capitalize when you have the football, and unfortunately they have not been able to do that today.
I think the thing that Hocking's going to have to look to do is find a way to run the football, get the clock going a little bit, and shorten the half because you don't want to keep on giving the ball back to Lackawanna.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to try to, but like we said, they haven't had much success running the football, but they're going to have to try to do something.
You're going to have to try to do something with it.
Absolutely.
So that takes us to, some of the game action yesterday across the nation and in the area. And, of course, we talked a little bit about Mount Union. It appears that Mount will run the table again, Greg, for the out of last 26 years.
24 out of 26.
24 out of 26. Mount Union has won the title, and, of course, they've won 13 national titles, and I would say that they've got to be the favorites going in this year, too.
You would think so, with the exception of 2005 and
18 of them, and I'm not sure maybe 18 times they've been there. They get on national TV, as you say, every year, and that's hard to beat recruiting-wise.
Absolutely. And then when you look at the practice aspect of it, a lot of people don't think about it, but over the course of a season, seniors will play roughly 60 games, and 20 of those are in the postseason. So that's an extra 20 weeks of practice you get that other schools don't get. So that's a huge advantage that a lot of people don't really take into consideration.
And I think the other thing that's made Mount increasingly tough over the years is they're all suddenly being called the cradle of coaches because in the state of Ohio alone, there are dozens of Mount Union graduates who played in that program who are now head coaches at high schools, and you know where they're going to send those kids if they can. They're going to direct them back to Mount Union.
Oh, absolutely. And then when they've started to infiltrate the Division I ranks with Matt Campbell over at Iowa State. You have when the assistant coach at Ohio State, when the Buckeyes
Alex Grinch,
now the Purple Raiders are starting to infiltrate the Buckeyes. Everyone wants a winner, and there hasn't been a bigger winner over the last 30 years than Mount Union.
Right. They know how to win games, and of course Mount will probably be back there again. Speaking of the Buckeyes, Greg, last night
did they play? Let me ask you this: did they show up to play?
No,
okay.
They didn't. We take a look at that, the outcome of that game. I will be the first one to say, now I'm not surprised by the way Ohio State's played in the last couple weeks that I haven't seen something like this coming because, Dwayne Haskins gets a lot of Heisman Trophy hype, and you and I have talked about it. He's good.
He has great numbers. His stats are great, but they can also be misleading.
Yeah, and some of his mechanical flaws have caught up with him here in the last few weeks. Now, is he the best throwing quarterback Ohio State's had in recent memory? Well, that goes without saying. I mean, you have to go back to Troy Smith, really, before you had a guy.
That's 11 seasons ago.
Right. But, when you look at it, Haskins, I think, has some deficiencies. The big controversy after the spring game, and you and I saw that. And, Joe Burrow outplayed Dwayne Haskins. And
in two of the spring games, both of them that Haskins was there.
Right. And so the question had to be, people said, well, Haskins got a better arm. I think what we've seen with Joe going to LSU and with them having the success they've had, Joe Burrow is the better runner of those two. Now, granted, I think Joe Burrow makes great decisions. I sent you a text, and I said, Joe Burrow is Craig Krenzel with a better arm.
Yeah, and if people don't, for a lot of the younger people, they don't realize how good Craig Krenzel really was as a college quarterback. Terrible in the NFL, but he was a really good college quarterback, won a national title. Actually, was the main reason, besides the defense, that they won, that they beat Miami in 2002. Craig Krenzel he was sneaky fast. Yeah. He was a really good runner and deceptive, and a lot of teams didn't respect his running game because he didn't really look like an athlete. But he could get the job done, and that's what we've seen Joe Burrow do against some top level defenses. We know how many kids the SEC sends to the NFL every year. And Joe Burrow's had some success. Now, his numbers aren't the same. They're not going to be because they are playing some tougher competition, and it's a different style of football.
Yeah, it's a different offensive coordinator.
Absolutely. But what he's done, he's been successful. Now, they have dropped a game, but they've also beaten some pretty good teams. Well,
they beat Georgia, they beat Auburn, and they beat Mississippi State this past week. They dropped a close 3-point decision to Florida, which is, in all honesty, a game they should have won. But you and I were on record earlier this summer when we did our college preview that we had LSU as the dark horse and the one that might knock off Alabama. So their linebacking play is non-existent, maybe with the exception of Pete Warner. And then, offensively, the offensive line blocking on runs, they were averaging 2.5 yards a carry.
Yeah, when Purdue holds you to 70, I think it was 73 or 74 yards rushing, that's unacceptable. And when you have to throw the ball 79 times or whatever it was, I think 74 times that they threw the football, that's not Ohio State football. If you would have told me those stats, I would have thought Purdue threw the ball 70 sometimes and ran the ball for 60, 70 yards. Well, you thought the score
would have been the other way around.
Absolutely, yeah. Purdue had to throw the ball to win, but, what Purdue did to Ohio State, and this is not the first time we've seen it, unfortunately. We've seen Ohio State get embarrassed on national television 3 times out of the actually 3 years in a row. We had the Clemson loss, which that was a really good Clemson team. But at Ohio State, when you're in the playoff, you can't get embarrassed like that.
Right.
And then when you go to Iowa and get thumped, and then you go to Purdue, a 3-3 Purdue team. Now Purdue they won 4 in a row now. Purdue's better than the Purdue's of old.
Right.
But you still, if Ohio State would have lost, I would have said, okay, they lost by a field goal or a touchdown.
Right.
All right. But to get beat by 29 points and give up 28 points in the fourth quarter, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, and when we look at it, again, you never know with Urban. Everything could right itself, but that loss is going to be huge because it's not going to be a quality loss, and it's going to hurt them. They can win the Big Ten, and they can end up going to the Cotton Bowl again or one of the lesser bowls. But obviously at Ohio State, that's not what people look for. So we'll see how that plays out. Any other, at this point of the college football season, we've talked about Ohio State and LSU. Any other ones that might stick out in your mind as surprises, one way or another, either winning-wise or losing-wise?
I know Mark Scovaner will be disappointed to hear me say this, but watching my TCU Horned Frogs drop to 3-4 on the season, that's it's pretty disappointing. They lost to Texas, who Texas is getting there. Texas is getting back with Coach Herman.
And by the way, I think we picked Texas in our show to win the Big 12.
I picked TCU because I'm a homer, but I said they're not the best team. I said I was going to pick them anyway because that's my team. Oklahoma's been playing really well. I didn't know how they would do after losing Baker Mayfield, who's turned out to be pretty good, a pretty good pick so far.
Right.
So, you never know when you have a young quarterback come up. We talked about Washington State during the game we were watching as we watched this game. Talk about the fighting Mike Leach's up there.
Yep.
Washington State Cougars took down the Planet O, Oregon Ducks.
Planet O.
So it'll be interesting to see who comes out of the Pac-12. If somebody in that conference is able to run the table and get a playoff bid, because right now the way it's looking, it could be Notre Dame if they keep playing well.
Right.
And if they're undefeated and they're one loss or whatever, they'd probably deserve to get in.
Right. Clemson is. If they right to they're
Clemson,
looking like they're on their way back.
Yeah, they're getting that turned around. You have Alabama, obviously, if they run the table, they're going to, even if Alabama loses the game, they're going to get in over Ohio State.
Yeah.
I think
I agree with
if
that.
Ohio State wins out, they run the table, win the Big Ten East, they win the Big Ten championship. Alabama either loses in the Big Ten or the SEC championship, or loses to LSU, for example, or Auburn late in the season, and doesn't get to the SEC championship. I could see the committee putting in Alabama over Ohio State like last year, and people would be up in arms about it. But
Alabama won the title.
Alabama won the title, and who would you put in? A team that got thumped by a 3-3 Purdue team? No, Purdue could run the table and finish 8-3. I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. But a 3-3 Purdue team, or a 10-1 Auburn, or a 9-1 LSU team.
Right.
It's obvious. It's clear. I would like Ohio State to go in, but I just don't see it happening.
We've got a hawk here in the dugout, and he's getting ready to swim right through the window here. So, do you have a name there, Mr. Hawk? Go ahead, tell me what it is. He can't talk. I forgot. He's a bird. So you're going to be revealed here pretty soon, aren't you? Okay, after halftime, right? 10 minutes to go in the third period. We got it. Okay. Is everybody at Hocking College just sitting there watching this, just waiting to see who you are? Okay, so that's a good answer. Well, we'll find out here in about 5 minutes.
I imagine it's something similar up in Bowling Green. We have it the beheading.
There we go, man.
Every year we have the beheading where we find out who the mascots are, Freddie and Frida Falcon. So our Hawk friend here will be beheaded shortly.
Beheaded, that's right. So we're going to turn it back over to Claire and Joey as they're going to recap the first half and get back to our regular broadcast team here.
Keep it loose.
Hawks fans, the final two home volleyball games of the season are next week when the Lady Hawks will play Sinclair Community College on Wednesday evening, October 24th at 6 p.m.
Most
Followed by
games are like,
Cincinnati
man, I didn't use
Fairmont
much of this prep.
on Saturday,
The reason you prep is
October
when you're doing things
27th
like this.
at 1
So
p.m.
you're like, what do I talk?
Come out and support your Lady Hawks volleyball squad in their final two home games of the 2018 season.
Yeah, I do Athens High School, and they blow a lot of people out. It's been a lot of talking about the conference and past schedule, futures.
So we're just about to get back underway here in the second half of this game. It is 41-6 in favor of the Lackawanna Falcons over the Hocking Hawks. And Claire, why don't you tell us some of the stats from the first half?
The time of possession for each team was with Lackawanna, they had 15 minutes compared to the 33, so that's a big 2-minute difference. And obviously, they took control of how many possessions they had. Total offense yards, Lackawanna has basically doubled Hocking College with 329 yards total, along with 112. Just scrolling around here, fumbles with Lackawanna, they had 0, but Hocking College had 3, but they recovered them themselves. Passing touchdowns and interceptions, they had 2, but with the interceptions, they had 2 passing touchdowns from Lackawanna and 3 passing touchdowns that were possibly going to be, scoring drives for them, just turned into interceptions with 3 for Hocking College. And third down conversions for Lackawanna has been 1 for 5 thus far, only making it 20%, while Hocking College hasn't had anything. So a lot of big stat differences between Hocking and Lackawanna, and knowing that they really have dominance throughout this game with third down conversions, the total number of yards throughout the whole thing. And hopefully we can see a change of attitude from Hocking, but with a score of 41-6, who knows what could be held with this.
Yeah, you could see Lackawanna making a lot of substitutions there at the end of the first half. It's probably what you're going to see throughout most of the second half, as well as they will receive the second half kickoff, and we'll probably be seeing number 10, Ryan Schumacher, throughout the rest of the game, taking the snaps for Lackawanna. But, as you can see, the stats kind of just pointed out, Lackawanna, they came in heavily favored, and they've been playing up to the bill so far. And Hocking, they've competed throughout the game. They've been trying to make big plays happen, but they just aren't able to match up with the talent of Lackawanna.
We're speaking of the quarterback position. Lackawanna has been throwing 50%. They're 6 for 12 with their passes thus far today. And on the flip side, Hocking College is 7 for 20. Obviously, Hocking College has taken more of a risk when it comes to making throws, but they haven't been as successful because it's just finding zones, and they've resulted in interceptions and loss of downs.
Yeah, you could see Hocking sometimes throughout that first half, trying to force some balls down the field that really guys weren't really open. But, they've been, the Falcons defense have also made some really great plays on the ball. We saw an acrobatic interception here towards the end of the second quarter, and one that was ran back for a touchdown that got called back. But, we're getting ready to kick off here in the second half, as that is Travis Himpson lined up to kick the ball. Falcons send 2 guys back deep to receive for them. And the kick is away, is on the ground. They actually looked like they tried to go for the onside kick, but the Falcons snuffed it out, and it's dove right back on at the 48-yard line. So, again, it will be a short field for Lackawanna to travel. As you can see, Schumacher is lined up with the offense. And you can see starting quarterback Shane McLaughlin with the headset on, trying to guide the backup quarterback a little bit going into the second half.
And I think that's really where leadership comes into play with this Lackawanna offense, because it's things like that where they can pass down tricks of the trade of being a quarterback and not just seeing things from a coach's perspective, but actually, knowing what goes on the field and what's happening with the defense and how it's being read. It's communication skills like that that are really crucial to having a successful team.
So Lackawanna takes over here, 1st and 10, ball on their own 48-yard line. Schumacher lines up with the Shields in the backfield. He's going to give it to him, and that's a big hit there. Right at the line of scrimmage with number 10, Vanden Viscoda. We called his name a couple times in the first half, and he made a good tackle on that one.
Yes, it's the defense that really has to stay awake here just to try and, counteract and counterbalance this explosive offense from Lackawanna. And we're seeing here coming out of the first half, going into the second half, that hopefully this can be attained.
Yeah, so it's here, 2nd down and 1 yard picked up on that play. The Shields remains in the backfield next to Schumacher. He will take the snap on the counter, gives it back to him on the right side. He is cutting up into the hole and will pick up. He's got a big hole up the middle, and he literally walks into the end zone for the touchdown, virtually untouched. As a very impressive drive there to start the second half for Lackawanna, and they will push their lead out to 47-6 early on in the third quarter.
Something to notice about Hocking College about, and how they're being receptive of this is there was a couple extra pushes going into that end zone. Obviously, he had the points, and it was it was more than a legal play, but it's just the agitation and being upset with what's on the board and how your team is performing that we might see some friction between the two teams.
Yep, tensions ran a little bit high at times there in that first half. There was obviously the altercation before the opening kickoff even started, but there have been some guys jawing throughout this game for sure. But the kick is up and good, and Howard remains perfect on extra points on the afternoon. That will make it 48-6. As a very fast drive there from Lackawanna, having no problem moving down the field.
Lackawanna has proven themselves time and time again that time is not an issue for them, and they have the ability to turn around really quick and put points on the board if need be. And that's why they're ranked number 6 in the country. They have the ability to turn around really quick and just make this happen.
Yeah, it's also a testament to just how deep this roster runs. I mean, when your backup quarterback is breaking out at sacks like that and making a big run like that, it just shows how much depth that this roster really has. As you can see here, the fans for Hocking are still pretty active in this game on the sideline despite their home team losing by a decent margin, but the fans are staying in it, which you like to see.
That's always nice, having not only your fans support them, but having a cheerleading squad on the side as well always helps build and maintain that positive attitude, even if the sideline is lacking that.
So a new kicker here on the kickoff for this one. That's Bradley King, who he has won a punt attempt on the game. He's going to line up to take this kickoff instead of Isaiah Howard, who has been doing it all day for the Falcons. So King boots it away, and it is a good kick back, and it will be fielded back at the 5-yard line. and he will break towards the middle of the field. He gets a couple good blocks there. He has a bit of a lane, and he will bring the return out to the 28-yard line, so a good return there. And let's see if Hocking can get some momentum going on offense.
It looks like he had about a 25-yard return on that, and that's really a strong point for it because he took the ball and ran with it and juked out his defenders where it put them in, a decent field position instead of being so far back and having 90 yards to go.
So it'll be interesting to see who Hocking decides to bring out at quarterback. It looks like it's going to be Jamari Stevens coming back in. We've seen a rotation at quarterback throughout the first half, and Stevens getting the call to start the second half.
You could see both of the quarterbacks warming up throughout halftime, that it was kind of a last-minute decision of who's going to start the second half, who's going to get the call.
And it looks like some confusion on who is on the field here for Hocking. They will get that last-second substitution in. And it will be 1st and 10 from their own 28-yard line. 11:57 here to go in this third quarter. Bring the receiver out in motion. He will get the jet sweep, and he will be stood up at the line of scrimmage. Nice play there by the Lackawanna defense.
And you can see with the Hocking offense, number 9, Quantavius Laguerre, really getting just a tad upset and throwing his arms around a little bit. It's just that friction that you're seeing between the two teams of just getting beat up and getting sick and tired of it from an offensive perspective.
Yeah, that was Logan Day and Leo Quigley on the stop there for Lackawanna, both making a big hit on the running back. So that will bring up 2nd and 8 here on the 30-yard line. Stevens has his running back in the backfield next to him. That is number 23, Tyrese Sherman. The ball thrown over the middle, and it will be complete, close to a first down there. That is number 9, Quantavius Laguerre, not the first time we've called his name. That's about his second reception, and it will be a first down.
It's nice to see a first down and those boys moving down the field because it seems more often than not with the Hocking College offense that they go 3 and out and have to, put the ball back into the hands of Lackawanna. But now we are here 1st and 10 with a fresh set of downs.
Yup, ball on their own 39-yard line. Stevens back in that pistol formation they've been using all day. He's going to give the actually he's going to pull it and throw it back to Laguerre. Makes another catch on this drive, and he will move forward to about the 45-yard line. A solid pickup there on first down.
Looks like Laguerre is really just keying in and finding his groove within this game. So he's got some swagger walking it back out there, looking for the play being called from the offensive coordinator, and just hoping that they can't read him as often as they are, so they can be in enemy territory and look to score.
Yeah, that's one of the first times in this game that Hocking has been able to pick up a solid pickup on first down to make it 2nd and short and try to keep a good rhythm going with the drive. So Stevens will take the snap. He looks left, but then he's going to hand it off to Sherman. Sherman looking to bounce to the outside, but he is hit by a swarm of defenders in the backfield, and that will be a loss of about 2 as Sherman had nowhere to go on that one.
And it's things like that where little plays where they can be read and just be dragged behind the line of scrimmage and lose yards. It kills the momentum and it kills your vibe of we were making forward progress and one step backwards isn't helping.
So familiar territory for this Hocking offense. They face yet another 3rd down and 5 to go at the 44-yard line. Stevens in the backfield. He's got Sherman there behind him, 3 receivers to the left. And it looks like there's going to be a false start called on Hocking, and that's not going to help the drive. It's going to move him back 5 more yards to make this an even longer 3rd down.
They were set up for success within that 3rd down. It was kind of a 3rd and medium yardage to go, but it's penalties like that'll just hurt you in the end, and that's about their 3rd penalty that has hit them really hard.
Yeah, not the first time they've been moved back on a 3rd down in this game. It's going to move that back to 3rd and 10. Ball's now on the 39-yard line. Stevens still has 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Sherman behind him in the backfield. He takes snap, drops back, has time, but he's flushed out of the pocket, and he will be sacked back at the 37-yard line. He tried to step up in the pocket, but there was no lanes for him to run, and he was brought down.
Something to notice about this game is how supportive these fans were, and that's because of the help of our mascot. The Hocking Hawks mascot has now been beheaded, and his time is now done here on the field. The cheerleaders and cheermen gave him a good wave goodbye, and he is off into the locker room as his time is done here.
Yeah, we got to talk to him a bit in the press box during halftime. He's definitely a joy to talk to. And that was Alonzo Mitchell coming through on the sack, and now Himpson's going to punt the ball away, and it'll be fielded back at 31-yard line. That's number 27, Aaron Watkins on the return. He's making a couple moves, juking towards the left sideline. Gets a big block there at the 40-yard line. He's coasting down the sideline and pushed out of bounds at about the 42-yard line. He got a big block that helped spur him up the sideline.
That was an explosive kick return because the special teams didn't know where he was going because of his speed. And having that extra block help him out and just open up that lane with the defenders clear and out of the way just led him a path to get a really good first down position.
So that will have the Falcons in business yet again. It looks like they're going to be on their opponent's 40-yard line to take over. They have a 48-6 lead with just 8:19 to go in the third quarter, and it's Schumacher leading the offense back on the field. So that looks like Rashard Jackson lined up in the backfield, one of the many backs used by Lackawanna in this game. He's going to get the carry, bursting towards the right side, and he will plunge his way towards the 45-yard line for a pickup of 5 on first down.
And like we mentioned earlier, having such a rotation of running backs and wide receivers and having such a depth roster has really helped Lackawanna stay fresh throughout this game and be able to perform at such a high level because they have the ability to. You can bench a couple players and have one fresh out, and once they get a little old and a little tired, it's put the new one in, and that's really where they've been, succeeding on this field.
Yeah, Lackawanna has used a lot of different skill guys in this game. They rotate almost every play, it seems like, and so it will bring up 2nd and 5 as Schumacher will take a snap. He's going to give it to Jackson again. This time he runs left, and he will be brought down close to.
Impressive because that means he's turning out multiple each year, and that his attractiveness as a head coach is very high.
Yep, Jackson getting another carry, run to the right side, trying to bounce it outside, and he plunges forward for a first down. Looks like he's going to get about to the 11-yard line. That will be first down for the Falcons.
It is 1st and goal for the Falcons, and this is familiar territory for them as they were just here about 9-ish minutes ago, and they scored once and they can score again.
Yep, they've just been pounding the rock so far in this game. They haven't really had to throw too much. They've kind of done whatever they wanted up front. The offensive line is just mauling the front 7 of the Hawks, so they're kind of doing whatever they want with them right now. So 1st and 10 from the 11-yard line, 5:10 left to go in the third quarter. Lackawanna leads at 48-6. Schumacher going to take the snap. Jackson, he's been the feature man on the drive. He's going to get it again, and he fights his way down inside the 5-yard line to about the 3 to make it 2nd down and goal.
I think something to notice about the Hocking sidelines is that there's a lot of side conversations, and that means your players aren't focused on what's going on the field, but they're focused on what's going on the sidelines, and a lack of attention to the game really hurts when you're trying to put points on the board for yourself. But time and time again, the Lackawanna defense has just taken control of them.
And you can see the Lackawanna sideline. They're all still really into this game. They're all fired up when their teammates score, and they're, really paying attention. So Schumacher, 2nd and 3, going to give it to Jackson yet again. Fakes the throw. Jackson going to plunge forward into the end zone. Referee puts his hands up for the touchdown, and Lackawanna will add on to that lead.
And like we said, it's a short gain, but they have average about 5 yards per carry, and they can really use that to their advantage when they're in 2nd and inches right next to the end zone.
Yeah, that was really the Rashard Jackson show on that drive. He got the ball on almost every play, and he just kept fighting for the tough yards and took them all the way down to the end zone. So Isaiah Howard back in to attempt the extra point. The spot is down, and the kick is good, and that will extend the lead out to 55-6. With 4:22 left in the third quarter, Lackawanna in control of this one as you expected. They're 7-0, ranked 6th in the nation, and they're showing why today.
Like we mentioned earlier, their attention spans are small. Why? Because it's just focused on the game. While on the Hocking side of things, they're a little scatterbrained all over the place, and it's a lack of an attitude of whether or not they could hold in this game. Granted, they do have 1 touchdown on the board, and they were the first to score, but they couldn't keep up that momentum and that pace and that confidence, and that's really, I think, a mentality. As an athlete myself, that's really where I've seen teams lack, and personally, my team, myself, if one player gets down, the rest of us will, and it hurts us eventually where there's games we could have won.
Yeah, that's now 52 unanswered points for the Falcons ever since Hocking took the lead early on in the first quarter, and that's kind of the last time we've seen some life out of this offense. They got they had some big plays to Delane Brown down the sideline a couple times. That they really had that going for him. But Brown has kind of been shut down since then, and, they haven't really been able to find it from anybody else. As Smith's going to take the return, and he's going to run it up the middle towards, and he's got a hole. And he's brought down at about the 40-yard line. Good return there, and yet again, good starting field position for Hocking.
That was a beautiful way to find a lane and just run through it. He caught the ball around the 10-yard line, but there just seemed to be this opening up of a gap of a flying V, essentially, and he ran through it and ended up getting caught up around the 45-yard line, but that's around a 30-yard run, and that was just impressive because they haven't had action like that in a while.
Yeah, for a second, it looked like Smith was about to break it and maybe score a touchdown. There was nobody between him and the end zone, but he gets ran down from behind, but still setting up good starting field position, which is very important. And Jamari Stevens is going to remain the quarterback for this drive. He's kind of taken over since the second quarter. We haven't really seen other quarterback Michael Stanley since the first quarter. It's kind of been Stevens. So let's see if he can get something going for them on this drive. So he's got two running backs in the backfield with him. That's Tyrese Sherman and Aaron Watkins, one on each side. He's got two receivers to the right, one to the left. Stevens going to take the snap, and he's going to run the option pitch and pitch it out to Sherman. Sherman looking to get the edge, but a nice tackle there. That's number 19, Logan Day, on the stop. It looked like there could have been some room outside, but Day forced him out of bounds.
That was a really trick play, and it worked in their advantage. It seems like they gained about 6 yards on it, and it's something that we haven't seen from Hocking, and that's, variability in the plays. We've seen a couple passes that have turned into incompletes, and we've seen a couple rushings that have just turned into loss of yards. But something with a forward pitch pass that just helps them. It shows that they have a couple other options in their hands.
Yeah, it looks like Hocking's going to stick with these two running backs in the backfield. It's going to be 2nd and 5 from their own 46-yard line. Stevens with Watkins and Sherman lined up next to him. This time he's going to give it to Sherman on direct handoff. Sherman looking to bounce it outside, and he will be brought down in the backfield. Could not outrun the athletic Falcons defense. He's brought down in the backfield.
There was a couple hard hits. Not only was there one tackle, but the thing with football is if you see one and they're kind of struggling, the rest of your teammates pile on, and that's really where you just get stumped and thrown down.
Yep, that's going to bring up another 3rd down for Hocking. Hopefully they can convert it on this one. It's 3rd and 8 to go on their own 43-yard line. Just under 3 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Sticking with that two running back formation, they got two receivers up top, one here on the near sideline. Stevens will take the snap. He drops back, looks for the quick route. Looking for Delane Brown, but the throw's a little bit behind him, and it will fall incomplete, and that will bring up 4th down.
That pass was intended for number 3, Delane Brown, and it just seems like he's been trying to be hit every single time, but there's a lack of chemistry and a lack of communication with where he's supposed to be, or the pass is a little too far off to the left or to the right and a little too high up. It's things like that.
Yeah, you can see Brown talking to coach on the sideline. Looked like there might have been a little miscommunication on that one, as that throw was a little bit behind him from Stevens. But nevertheless, that's going to bring up 4th and 8. And number 18, Quentin Sanders, is back to return this kick, as Himpson will get the punt away, and it is high in the air. Sanders is under. He fielded about the 19-yard line. He makes a guy miss. He's cutting towards the far sideline, looking to get a block, and he gets one. And he's down the sideline, and he crosses the 40-yard line, and now he's brought down inside the 30. What a return from Sanders, but there are 3 flags down on the field, so it looks like this one could definitely be coming back.
That was an impressive run. He got that around the 20-ish yard line and it made it down to the enemy's 20. So he covered a good piece of land from that, but because of how much laundry is on the field, I think Lackawanna is expecting the play to be called back around the 30-yard line.
Yeah, you can already see the offense lined up around the 25. They think they know that this play is going to be called back. It was a good return from Sanders. And another big block on a special teams play from a Lackawanna player kind of freed him up to get up that sideline and bust it all the way across the 30. But it will be all for naught, as this play is going to be coming back. This will be one of the longer fields that Lackawanna is going to have to deal with on the day. They've been usually starting around midfield, or if not, in opponent territory all day. So it's going to be one of the first times they're going to have to drive the length of the field in order to score some points.
You're exactly right, but that's not going to stop them. We've seen it. There was once or twice in the first half, but it's really unusual during this game for Lackawanna to be on their own 30. So it's nothing that they can't handle, but it's a little unfamiliar as they're not in opponent territory starting off their drive.
Yep, it looks like they're going to be, the ball's going to be spotted back at their own 9-yard line on this one. So they're going to have to go the length of the field. They're going to put some more points on the board. We'll see if they still lean towards that heavy run game that they were on that last drive.
I think Hocking College here really Lackawanna.
Yeah, this was a very fast quarter. Lackawanna keeping the ball on the ground with the big lead, and they're going to go play action. Little pop pass over the middle to the tight end. He's got room to run, and he will finally be brought down inside the 10-yard line. That was number 45, Samir Parks, wide open over the middle of the field.
Let's see if they play some hurry-up football because they have just under 15 seconds to make this happen, or if they just let the clock run out because of how short of time they have to score.
Well, it looks like they're going to just let the clock run out on the quarter. That was a nice little design play there. They've been running so much in this third quarter. Then the nice play-action pass left Parks wide open over the middle of the field to bust it inside the 10. And that will bring us to the end of the third quarter with your score being Lackawanna 55 and Hocking 6.
Lackawanna College Falcons 55, the Hocking College Hawks.
And I would not be surprised if Lackawanna College came out of this third quarter going into the fourth, again with a quick turnaround with the first goal with inches to go, you know, having that touchdown be the first drive of their quarter.
Yep, you know, Hocking is still a young football program. It's just their fourth year as a team. They've had their coach, Al Matthews, for 4 years. He's been there since the beginning. So still a young team. You know, they have time to get their recruits in and, you know, try to build up. But when, you know, when you're taking losses like this, it's got to be a little harder to handle.
Not only that, but the head coach here established the athletic department and instilling the idea of having, you know, teams playing because it would, you know, allow more students from out-of-state areas to come and enroll at Hocking College, which seemed to be an issue because of how small the area is here and how vast and how much land there is to cover with a small population. So he has some accreditations within the college of bringing in a higher student population rate along with different kinds of students to enroll within the college. So I wouldn't call him necessarily a bad coach because he came in with a good idea, but it's just, you know, executing those correctly that might be something to work on.
So Schumacher takes a snap. He has trouble handling it, but he will fall right back on at the 11-yard line. Looked like a good snap. Looked like Schumacher just tried to rush it a little bit on the handoff.
And those are silly mistakes that luckily won't end up costing Lackawanna this game because of how high scored they made it within the first quarter, within the first half of this. So Schumacher can feel a little, okay, got that one out of the way. Now let's get back and focus on what really needs to happen.
So that's going to bring up second down from the 11-yard line. Schumacher going to give the handoff to Calvin Bell. Bell looking for room to run. He ain't finding too much, though. That's going to be a short game of just 2, and that's going to bring up 3rd and goal.
If Lackawanna can hold them here, it's another touchdown that has been prevented, and just kind of like that first run, leaving them, you know, just to 3 points is better than nothing than making it a, you know, 7-point lead with a touchdown and then point after.
Yeah, you look for little things in games like this that you can try to take away into next week that, you know, can be confidence boosters going into the next game.
And that is certainly a strength because they proved it at the beginning and they can prove it now.
So Schumacher going to play action. He's going to hit his guy yet again. That's Parks over the middle. He got the catch that brought him down to the 9-yard line. Now he's going to finish off the drive with a touchdown. Nice quick throw from Schumacher, and that will put the Falcons on top 61-6.
It was a beautiful catch by number 45, Samir Parks, and that gave him a touchdown recorded on his record and for his stat sheet. So it's variability within these players that allows them to be flexible and show that they've scored within their position and have some accreditations within their stat sheets.
So that's a nice 91-yard drive there for the Falcons. They made it work pretty quickly. They got the ball at the end with just a couple minutes left in the third quarter. And then they scored just a couple minutes into the fourth quarter. Now Howard's going to line up for another extra point, and he will stay perfect on the day to make the score 62-6 with 13 minutes to go in the ballgame.
Lackawanna College 62, Hocking College 6.
And we will see the special teams come back out as they make their regular return after a touchdown. It's just we've seen them a little too often, and that's that's just the story of this game, that it's a high-scoring, high-opponent team where they had an uphill battle going into it, and they tried the best that they could, but there's only so many things you can do with so many players and so many options in a playbook that makes it harder on that makes it hard on a team trying the best that they can, but just being handed the game.
Yeah, we knew, as you were saying, it's going to be a uphill battle for Hocking coming into this game, and they just struggled to stop this high-powered Lackawanna offense that, we've hammered home that they're 6th in the country among NJCCA teams, and, they're looking to try to get into a bowl game here eventually. So.
But something to notice is that Hocking College isn't the only one in this position. I mean, Lackawanna is undefeated 7-0, and at the end of this game, 8-0 with their score. And it's not only them, but they're just a tough team to play, and it's a struggle throughout the whole nation because they're an independent team playing all these different kinds of other teams around the country.
Yeah, for sure. So the kick is away, and that's going to be Dennis Smith on the catch. He has a little trouble with it, but he picks it up at the 10-yard line. Now he's running up the middle of the field, and he cuts to his right and will be pulled down at about the 30-yard line. And that's where the Hawks will take over on this drive. And it looks like Mike Stanley's about to go back in at quarterback.
We've seen the flips in quarterbacks just trying to keep them fresh and, trying to try something new. Let's put him back in and see what happens kind of an idea. And hopefully we see, someone who's refreshed and calm, cool, collective, who can make things happen and hopefully just at least put one more touchdown on the board for this team.
Yep, Stanley did make a couple long connections with Delane Brown earlier in the game that got him in position for the touchdown that gave him the lead in the first quarter. But you can see they're coming back out with this 2 running back system that they finished off with in the last drive. Stanley's going to drop back to throw. He's looking down the field for number 81, Miles Charlie, but he cannot pull it in, and it looks like they're going to get him for interference on that one.
And that was rightfully so, because if you saw in the play that he kind of had a grip on his jersey that prevented him from taking his other arm out to catch the ball with his 2 hands. But because of that, looks like it's going to be pass interference, and all the sidelines are moving with the chains that they'll get the first down, maybe not as many yards as they had wanted, but it's still productive.
Yeah, that was number 12, Deshaun Pope on the coverage. Just didn't turn around to find the ball and had a good hold of the receiver on that one, so that drew the flag. And that will have Hocking set up at the looks like about the 35-yard line. Actually, no, they moved the spot back, and that will put them at their own 45-yard line, 1st and 10. But kind of a play that can get you some momentum after a 15-yard penalty like that. Start moving in the right direction and maybe string some plays together and put some more points on the board.
I think this is the closest that Hocking has been to enemy territory in the second half, and let alone the first half, second quarter, where they're close and they're within 5 yards of hitting the 50 and 10 yards within hitting their opponent's 45.
Stanley going to look quick to Delane Brown. He makes the catch at about the 48, and he has stood up at the 50-yard line. Big hit after the catch, but it looks like Brown's going to have a gain of 4 on that one.
And you can just see a herd of white players coming off the sidelines, going and giving their teammate a pat on the back. And it's things like that that could, trigger something within that offense. But they did gain yards on it, so that's all that matters. And positive movement is the best thing that this team can ask for.
Yep, Brown has been Stanley's primary target in this game, and you found him there again. That's kind of the first time Brown's been involved in the offense since his big drive in the first quarter. But Stanley's going to take the snap. He's going to give the ball off to Sherman, who was stood up at the line of scrimmage by a sea of defenders. They throw him back behind the line of scrimmage. He gets up to the 49-yard line. That will bring up another 3rd down for the Hocking offense. And
this is exactly what I think these coaches were asking for from Stanley, was a fresh set of downs and, looking to score with how they did it on the first drive with Brown, just back-to-back-to-back passes that were long throws and, hoping that it happens again. Yes, they have 3rd and 6 is what it looks to be, but that doesn't mean that can't happen with Brown in position.
So Stanley with one running back to both his hips. He's going to take the snap, drops back, looks left. He's going to look down the field, and it will be intercepted by number 11, Cam Henderson, but there is a flag on the play, so let's check that. It might be interference on the defense, and it looks like the referee's signaling holding, so it looks like Hocking will be able to hold on to the ball.
Again, another lucky penalty that Lackawanna blew with what seemed to be their 4th interception for this game, but they get to keep the ball in. It's a fresh set of downs that they didn't necessarily have to work for because Lackawanna had the penalty against themselves.
Yeah, Stanley kind of chucked that one up trying to make a play happen on 3rd down, and he drew the flag, and they avoid the interception, and now they're going to be in enemy territory for the first time in a while down at the Falcons' 40-yard line.
This is not new territory considering that they scored the first drive, but it's been the first time in a long time that they've been on the other side of the field, and they're a lot closer to that end zone than they're used to.
In a 5 to move the ball out to the 22-yard line. So that'll bring up 2nd down and 4 here. Clock running, 11:35 left in the game. That's another new quarterback in for Lackawanna. That is number 14, Colin Smith, who was a freshman quarterback. Definitely does not get a lot of snaps, being that there's 2 sophomore quarterbacks in there, but he's getting the experience in this game. And look at Jackson go. He's going to bounce this one out to the left, down the far sideline. He's got room to run. He's across the 30 and pulled down at about the 25-yard line. What a big run there for the big man, Jackson.
And luckily, number 5, Andrew Novak, the defensive back for Hocking, was there in the area, so he could drag him down once he caught up to him eventually. But things like that with a running back and speed are deadly, especially with Lackawanna in position.
Yep, Jackson kind of got a second burst of speed once he cut towards the far sideline. He took off down the sideline, and there was only one man between him and the end zone. Luckily, he made the stop.
Familiar territory for Lackawanna. They're on their enemy's 30, on the enemy's 25, pardon me. And it just looks like it's, traditional now to just score.
So freshman quarterback Colin Smith looking to get the call from the sideline, taking him a while to get it in there. Jackson will remain in the game at running back. He's been a big part of the offense in the second half so far. I
think also having their freshman quarterback, and they're allowing them to just run the clock down.
So Smith's going to keep the ball on this one. He goes towards the left sideline and runs over a man and will cross the 1st down marker. What a run there from the freshman.
He took a hard hit into his shoulder. It really just bounced off, but luckily he was able to carry forward through that and attain that 1st down.
You see the Falcons silently get fired up when they see their freshman quarterback take a hit like that and keep running. Very impressive from a young kid.
That just shows the depth of this team, the fact that they have a freshman who is able to take, bounce off of hits and still stay afloat and get those 1st downs behind after he hasn't had any snaps throughout this whole game. Is just the amount of talent this team has is incredible.
So Smith's going to take the snap. He's going to give it to Jackson up the middle. Jackson looking for a hole, and he will spin down for about a gain of 2 down to, looks like the 13-yard line.
And they're just winding this clock down slowly but surely. We have just under 10 minutes here left in this game, and it's just taking their time, watching for plays, and really focusing in on how to get better.
Yeah, it'd be real shocking to see Lackawanna throw a pass here in this situation with such a big lead, but you never know what they're going to end up running. So
we did see that, illegal forward pass because of at the end of that second half where they did end up scoring it, but it got called back.
So the hand is Jackson again, and he will once again plow forward for about a gain of 2, and a late flag comes in at the line of scrimmage. It looks like referee is signaling for a hold or an illegal block in the back against the Falcons that's going to move them back.
Even with the illegal block in the back, it's not really hurting them because they have just an ability to make up those yards that they lost off the penalty. And yes, it is 3rd down, but Hocking really needs to stop them to make it a long field goal if they'd like to try for it.
Yeah, that's going to bring up 3rd and about 13 here for the Falcons from their own 20-yard or from their opponent's 20-yard line. Smith checking the play at the line of scrimmage, letting the lineman know. Smith's going to give the handoff to number 31, Calvin Bell, but it's a nice play there by the defense. They stuff him at the line of scrimmage to bring up 4th down.
I think something to notice that even after they had stuffed him up on that line of scrimmage, you don't see any excitement from their sidelines. They're all just kind of standing around hoping for this game to end and get the pain and done over with. But it is what it is, and it looks like they're trying for it, actually.
Yep, offense stays on the field for this play. Let's see what they try to run, if they're going to throw it or just run it out yet again.
In worst case scenario, if they do end up turning the ball over, it still has 80 yards for Hocking to attain.
So Smith's going to take the handoff. He's going to give it to Bell again, who is stuffed back in the backfield yet again. That looked like number 95, Donta Marshall, shooting through and making the play in the backfield to get the defense off the field.
With 7 minutes and 31 seconds left in this game, the score is 62 for Lackawanna Falcons and 6 for Hocking College.
So Hocking's going to take over here at what it looks like about their own 23-yard line, and it looks like Jamari Stevens is going to check back in at quarterback for what could potentially be one of the final drives of the game for Hocking. So they're going to look to try to, get some momentum going on the last drive, maybe pick up a couple first downs, maybe put some points on the board, to take that into next week.
It's really interesting to see that they put, their second-string quarterback in, considering that Stanley and Brown had some momentum going forward with them. And we've seen nothing but, 3 and outs continue, time and time again from Jamari Stevens. So
Stevens going to line up in an empty backfield here. He's got 5 receivers spread out. Stevens going to drop back looking for a quick throw, and he finds his receiver. That's number 45, Terrence McCoy, with his first catch on the day for a short game. He's tackled real quick after making the catch.
The number 45, Terrence McCoy, brought down on the play by Lackawanna's number 17, Marcellus Piper.
Looks like they have about 2nd and 6 to go, which is forward movement progress for this team.
Yeah, there's a quick little throw there from Stevens to try to, maybe get some yards on first down, set up a shorter second down for him. Stevens going to line up in an empty backfield yet again. So he takes a snap. He looks left. Looks like a designed run play. He's going to take off right away, but he has not that much room to go. He is met by a swarm of defenders, just a yard picked up on the play. They'll bring up yet another third down.
And it's heavy hits like that that really just puts your confidence down, because they know what you're going to do from a running quarterback play, and they just drag you down and it makes you feel like you lost yards instead when you gained 1 or 2 on it. But it's a confidence thing that really has just affected, Hocking College's ability to play. They hung in there within the first 10 minutes of the game, during the first quarter, but after that it's been nothing but Lackawanna taking over.
Yeah, very athletic defense the Falcons have. They, you got 11 guys running the ball on every play. It's very tough to beat them on the perimeter. So Stevens, he's going to line up in an empty backfield again. He's going to pump once, and hits his receiver number 19. That's Antonio Wendes, and he will be close to the first down. It looks like he got the first down to about the 36-yard line.
Not only that, Marcellus Piper has been, covering him throughout the whole game, but he just flew right through him, caught the ball, and attained that first down for him.
So clock rolling, 5:45 to go in the ball game. Hocking looking to drive down the field. They've been staying in this empty formation so far on this drive. Stevens takes a snap. He's going to throw a quick out to his receiver, who makes a guy miss, and he's up the sideline with a burst of speed, and he looks like he's going to have the first down. That's number 17, Jamari Sweet, making the play on that one.
Back-to-back first downs is a real accomplishment for this team. Granted, it might be the fourth quarter, but still, it's a positive thing that has happened.
So clock continues to run here in this fourth quarter. 1st and 10 from their own 46-yard line. As they've left Stevens in this empty backfield so far on this drive, and it looks like they're going to stay with it on this play. Stevens takes snap, looking quick out, and a nice play there. That's number 17, Marcellus Piper, making a nice play on the ball, almost coming up with the interception, but he knocks it down and forces the incompletion.
And the ball just flew right into the tips of his fingers, and too bad he was a little too short for that, but even then.
Yeah, a good read by Piper on that play, jumping the route right away. He knows Stevens is looking to get the ball out fast, so he broke on the ball quick and made a nice play. They're going to bring up 2nd down and 10. He's going to motion Sweet, and he's going to give him the ball on the jet sweep, looking for a block on the left side, but there's just nothing going for him. He is brought down back at the 40-yard line by this athletic Falcons defense.
I think another thing that comes with athleticism on the other side of things is hesitation. You could see he was looking other ways to go and run, but every time he'd try and find a spot, there was always coverage in that area, and he'd just keep moving farther backwards and backwards trying to make some movement, but it just would not help his case.
That's going to bring up a 3rd down and 15 for the Hawks. Stevens walks up to the line of scrimmage, looking to tell his lineman to play in that empty backfield yet again. Going to motion out Sweet to the right. He's going to fake the bubble to him. Now Stevens looking to run, but he is tracked down fast. He just throws the ball away. That was number 17, Marcellus Piper, yet again coming down on him, that forced him to throw the ball away so quickly and force the punt.
And they are 3 and out for this. And Honestly, this is probably going to be their last possession of the game, considering that there is only 4 minutes left, and Lackawanna likes to run the ball. So with that being said, they proved what they could on the field, and take that back. It looks like they're going for a fourth. Nope. There's the kicking team out there.
So they send Himpson out on the field. He's been punting the ball all day. Quentin Sanders back deep to receive for Lackawanna. Himpson gets the snap, and he's running to the side, almost like a rugby-style kick, and he boots it, and he takes a friendly roll all the way down to the Falcons, about 38-yard line. That's where they'll take over with 3:57 left to go in the game. So obviously Lackawanna looking to.
At the Hocking College 42-yard line. Second and 12.
That's going to bring up a 2nd down and 12 here with just under 2 minutes to go left in this game. It's looking like Falcons are just trying to run out the clock at this point of the game with their insurmountable lead. Smith's going to take the snap. He's going to pull it himself, head towards the left sideline, cut it up. He's got a bit of a lane and leaps over a defender down for about a 10-yard pickup.
I think at this point, Lackawanna is just trying to slow it down as much as possible and let this clock wind itself out. With just under 1 minute and 30 seconds left in this ticker, it is what it is.
In the 2 drives we've seen Colin Smith, he has shown the ability to run the football quite well.
It's just the athleticism in this depth chart for Lackawanna that's so impressive coming from a Division III team. Granted, they do have a coach that played in the NFL, so it's not like there isn't any inexperience from their coaching staff.
So on 3rd down, they go back to the man who's been getting the ball the most in the second half, Jackson. It looks like he's going to be just short of a 1st down. Looks like 4th and maybe an inch. Doesn't look like there's very much room at all between that ball and the marker.
Surprised Lackawanna isn't coming out and bringing out the chains to try and fight that, but granted, they are up about 60 points.
So just 43 seconds to go in this game. This might be the last play of the game. It looks like Lackawanna is going to run the clock down. And if they pick up the 1st down, we'll end the ball game.
If we're talking about this game as a whole, Hocking College put their heart and soul into it. I mean, they never truly gave up from an offense standpoint, but they hung in as long as they could. And unfortunately, it didn't work out in the end just because of how high-ranked this team is in the nation.
And they were definitely keying on Jackson on that one. They brought the house up the middle. Smith pulls it and runs it all the way down to the 10-yard line, and that's going to wrap this game up. The final score in this one is going to finish out Lackawanna 62, Hocking 6. Lackawanna is going to advance to 8-0 on the season. Hocking will drop to 1-6. It'll be the 3rd straight loss, and they'll look to bounce back next week.
Unfortunately, this just ended up turning into a big loss for Hocking College. Hopefully they can take what they did wrong and turn it into a positive next week and really focus on becoming a better team all the way around. But other than that, I think that's it from us. This is Claire Geary, and alongside me is Joey Mador, and we are here at Nelsonville York High School at Boston Field. And so long for now with the final of 62 for the Lackawanna College and 6 for Hocking. Thank you.
Lackawanna College 62, Hocking College 6. Thanks for coming today, everyone.
Yeah.
Be safe.
Yeah. Rick will be in touch with your program director.
Yeah, that sounds great.